crack another one open. What's up, babies? Welcome back to the Draft House. This is Mount Draftmore. You know what it is. I'm Ben Jammin, and today I'm joined by the regulars. You know, he's from St. Louis, where the Cahokia were something prominent. The people's champion, Dylan, what is good? And from the snowy peaks of Snoqualmie, even in the summer, where that cold freeze is meeting ocean breeze, Mr. Franchise himself, Matty Ice.
What's up?
And back again from the California sunshine, where the salty sea and sand becomes one with the body, the blonde tan man himself, Chase, is back in the building.
What's good?
Today, we are drafting sports programs. We are building our own college sports program. Special thanks to our sponsors today, Willie Cray's Pictures and Adult College Finder. Y'all, that's the draft. Let's get this shit started. Roll the dice. Chase, it's right in front of you.
All right, let's see what we got.
Cue the dice music.
A 4.
Ooh,
wow.
Chase rolls an amazing 4.
I think that might be my position in this draft.
Oh, it might be.
15.
We're, I don't know. We'll see.
We shall see.
Here we go.
23.
Oh my
God.
glob.
All right, let's see. Come on, Bessie. 21.
All right.
Wait.
A wraparound.
I was 23.
Oh, yeah, baby. Oh, yeah. So we're doing Ben, Dylan, Matt, Chase in the wraparound. All right.
Fuck. Oh no.
Round 1.
This is Disney Songs Volume 2 all over again. But I'm going to try my damnedest
Oh, no.
not to take 10 minutes to get this one off my chest.
Oh,
I
God.
assure you. Is there a McDonald's pick? And oh, Matt, let the listeners know you came up with the draft, so I'll let you like sell them on what the draft is specifically.
Yeah, so the whole idea here is we are creating a hypothetical university that excels at everything. So what are 4 sports programs from around the country at different schools that just kick ass? So you have to draft 1 college football team, 1 college basketball team, and then you get 2 choices of different sports from different universities that just happen to kick ass at those things. So the whole objective here is my school going to have the 4 programs that are just amazing, above water, above everything else. Like, this is like the wish list. Like, if you were building a school, you'd want this team from this university, this team from that university. You get all their history, but you also come with what they're doing presently. So you have to factor that into the equation as well.
Okay.
Very smooth.
Oh, yeah.
I like that description. You know what? Netflix should hire you to make their Netflix descriptions.
You know,
I think you've got
I wouldn't
this.
be opposed. Netflix, shout out, give us a sponsorship.
11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18.
Ben's doing some math here.
I am trying to do a little math. Okay. This is stupid. So, and you told them which ones we have to pick?
You have to pick a college football team and a college basketball team.
Okay. First pick, I would reason that there is a McDonald's pick, especially on the football side. Like, we hear, especially currently, like, as long as I can remember, everybody knows Alabama Crimson
football.
Tide. That football program is the best football program. It has the highest winning percentage all time, 73%. It's actually sorry, I lied. Ohio State Buckeyes have the highest winning percentage at 73.15%. And Alabama is 73.10. Okay, so their winning percentage overall all time, they're number 2. But national championships, unrivaled.
Oh, it's nuts.
Unrivaled. 18 championships. Let's count those again. 25, 26, 30, 34, 41, 61, 64, 65, 73, 78, 79, 92, 09, 11, 12, 15, 17, 20. 18 championships. Number 1, Ohio State Buckeyes.
How many was that in the last decade? I mean, just...
Oh, in the last...
I'm just curious, 'cause
6,
they've been
7?
super dominant.
So if we're doing decade proper 2012 to now, 4. But if we're doing like the Saban run, I believe 09 on, 09, 11, 12, 15, 17, 20. 6 national championships
Jeez Louise, man.
in just under 13 years.
I mean, that's what you said.
50%.
6 of 18.
Yeah.
That's 30. That's 1/3.
And
But
that's
they've
not
won
even,
half. They've won like half of the championships in the last 13
and
years.
that's not even
That's
counting
crazy.
how many times have they been in the national championship
Right.
over the last like 10 to 15 years.
Dude, and if we're talking about sports programs that generate revenue for their
They're the
college,
king.
they generate more money
Yeah.
than anyone. It's not even.
They have more money in the Alabama football program than in some like Fortune 500 companies.
That's
Like
wild.
It's stupid how much money they make.
Nick Saban is the highest paid coach of all college coaches.
Yeah.
Period. But anyways, I was talking about Ohio State because some would reason like, oh, that's the best program. Nah, man. They've only got 3, 6, 7, 8 national championships all time, dating back to 1890 when the school was first established, and the program was first established. So, eat your heart out, Ohio State. It's all about the Crimson Tide.
Nice.
And I don't want to just boost Ben's team, but in his team's defense, like versus Ohio State, at least recently, they have pretty poor turnover in the NFL leading on from their program. Because, I mean, what really makes a program great, in my opinion, is they're like developing professionals, especially in basketball and football, because, you know, that shows your legacy, you know, better than just if you have a great college athlete. And there's 3 quarterbacks in the NFL. 3 starting quarterbacks are all from the University of Alabama. You got Tua, Jalen Hurts, and Mac Jones. And they literally were in the locker room together 3 years ago, or 4 or 5 years ago together, like all 3 of them. Like, that's pretty insane that you go from your first string, second string, and third string quarterbacks to them being starting professional athletes. I think that goes to show kind of how good of a program they have.
I mean, just in 2020, in the 2021 draft, they had 6 first-round picks.
Nuts. There's only 32 picks.
Dude, that's insane.
Yeah, that's almost a fourth of the picks.
Since Nick Saban has been at Alabama, 44 first-round picks.
That's over, it's like a round and a half,
Dude,
basically, of just Alabama players.
That's insanity.
That's nuts.
And then in their school's history, 391 NFL players.
Good.
Wow.
They're just cranking out dudes. It's a dude factory.
Yeah, they're special. Something special.
It had to go first. I agree. Like that. That's the top of the mountain.
Yeah.
Yep.
For football.
For football,
Like, I think
yeah. They're different sports, obviously, but for
Yeah.
football wise, that is the top of the mountain. I agree.
Quite dominant.
with the first pick, I mean, I had to take
gotta do it,
something.
yeah.
Because there's going to be great programs that go that I really want. But if you have the first, you have to have something that at least you can hang your hat on to say, like, okay.
What's synonymous with college football? Alabama.
Alabama. I mean,
Absolutely.
dude, that's Alabama football is bigger in the South than NFL football.
Oh yeah, Alabama doesn't have a professional team. They don't need one.
Nope.
Yeah, I think going to a football game at like one of those top D1 schools would be way more entertaining than like possibly even going to like a Super Bowl.
It's
just
gotta be
because
like
of
a
the
religious
level of-
experience,
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Yeah.
Like almost like the cult following
Yeah.
that they have is like greater than an NFL.
Nick
team.
Saban
Yeah.
is God.
He is. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
I mean, a lot of people's fandom starts when they go to school there. I mean, they go to school there for 4 years. How many football? I mean, you get to go to half your team's football games. You know, that's pretty freaking awesome. So,
Right.
I mean,
You could probably count on one hand the amount of times you would go to a losing game if you're a student at Alabama for 4 years.
yeah.
I was thinking it earlier, and I don't know if I said it out loud, so if I repeat myself, apologies. But if you haven't seen University of Alabama's like athletic training facility that they built with football money, look it up.
nuts.
There is nothing like it. NFL programs don't even have what the college, like what Alabama has in their athletic training center. It is amazing. Amazing. Unrivaled. So, first pick,
Good job,
Alabama football.
Wow.
Dylon.
Okay. Well, I'm going to take a men's basketball team
Okay.
for my first pick because, you know, Ben, I think got the first pick with the football team. So I'm going to take UCLA men's basketball team. Man, I mean, this team has produced some interesting notables in the NBA, right? Kareem Abdul-Jabbar being one of them,
GOAT.
right? Russell Westbrook being another person.
Meh.
Listen, I don't know much about sports, but I know UCLA basketball is good.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say Kevin Love is your next player.
Kevin Love. There we go. There we go. And in 1972, one of their best all-time seasons, they went 30-0 with Coach John Wooden.
He's the GOAT of basketball coaches.
So, UCLA men's basketball team for top pick. Look, folks, I don't know much about sports, but I know UCLA basketball is good. So, I'm picking it.
No, I mean, they, for the longest time, when you're really thinking about basketball, like in its infancy, or when it's really starting to gain traction in between, like, about the end of World War II up and through about like 1970, when it's really trying to change the game, UCLA is at the top. Like, they are the ones, John Wooden especially, who are really changing the game and really like cultivating a program. They weren't the best during all that time, but they were one of the best. They're really, especially Wooden, he's a game changer, like finding tall guys. Like, basketball, really, like, no, it's such a simple thing, but it's a revolutionary thing in basketball to find like tall dudes to play basketball. So
in all of these programs, especially the greatest programs, it's funny because they all kind of hinge on one iconic coach. You know, like Crimson, like Alabama football. There were other great coaches before Saban, but Saban is like the recognizable one. John Wooden is that face of UCLA basketball. Like, there's no one that can compare to him.
John Wooden.
John Wooden.
And you gotta love, the crazy guy, Bill Walton.
I was just about to say,
Walton.
how come Bill Walton wasn't on your list? Because he was a freak.
I don't know. My list is incomplete, as is my knowledge.
Dude, Bill Walton could have been one of the greatest NBA players of all time if he wasn't plagued with injury.
Yeah, his knees terrible.
Like, he won that championship with the Blazers, and then after that, it was like, damn, dude, you wrecked your body. Poor guy.
Ugh.
At a time where recovery was not the focus of training.
Was his career cut short?
Definitely. And, I mean, when you just build up a lot of injuries, it hinders you from performing. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like as you get older, you build up more scar tissue, your ability to move and be as explosive is diminished. But when he was young and he was playing, like, for UCLA, and when he first came to the Blazers, just a freak. His son was good too, but Bill was the better
Sure.
Walton. UCLA, good pick, dude.
Thank you.
Clap, 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 clap. Third pick is Matt.
Yep. Let's see here. It's pulling up some stuff here. But knowing that we've got the best college football team, we have one of the best men's basketball teams, I'm going to go in a different direction because I know I'm going to have to come back around and pick those a little bit later, which is I'm going to choose the UConn women's basketball program.
Nice.
The most elite women's basketball program in all of the country. They have 11 national titles. They've gone through multiple times where they've not only done back-to-backs, but three-peats, especially since really about 2000 when I think it's like Gino Auriemma came on to be the head coach at UConn. They are the best. Like, it is insane. They've gone multiple seasons without losing. Like, it's absolutely nutty how, like, much of a freaking wagon UConn women's basketball is. They are churning out WNBA players left and right. Sue Bird, Swin Cash, Aisha Jones. Like, they alone have 4 players from UConn who have been on a list of, I just saw a stat here. So Sue Bird, Swin Cash, Aisha Jones belong to a distinguished group of 11 players that have won an NCAA championship, a WNBA title, and Olympic and FIBA World Cup gold medals. They have 4 of them just alone. And that's only in the last, like I said, 20 years, 25 years. But they've won their conference 25 times. They had a win streak of 111 games.
Jesus.
111 games. You play, maybe about 40, 50, if that, basketball games in a season. So you're telling me for about 2 to 3 seasons, they didn't lose. Like,
That win streak was recent, right?
yeah, I forget when it was. It last, I don't know, handful of years. Because it created big news when they finally lost. Like,
Yeah.
It's an absolute wagon of a team. And if you're building a school, I want UConn women's basketball.
Yeah,
It's just nuts.
Yeah, that win streak also has to survive March Madness as well.
Exactly. The chaos.
Which is nuts. Like, you have to, like, even, like, going from, like, 64 teams down to 1, and, like, the fact that you were, like, the number 1 team.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Not alone, like, not only did they win all their games in the regular season, they were able to defend themselves through what is considered one of the toughest basketball tournaments in the world, if not the toughest.
Well, in just, like, you're right. They have to survive the gauntlet,
Yeah,
which is March Madness, and you are the 1 seed. for years upon years, and you're going to get people's best every single time, and you have to be on your best to avoid getting upset. So it's just incredible how good they are.
Yeah.
Like,
Because versus like the NBA where you have a 7-game series, it's March Madness, it's one or done. That number 1 seed can fall to that 16 seed.
yeah, let's see. So they had back-to-back titles from 09 and 2010, a three-peat from 02 to 04, and four in a row from 2013 to 2016.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just dummy how good they are.
Monster team.
Yeah. So, got to choose the wagon, UConn women's basketball.
I'm glad that a women's team is going in the first round. This is fantastic.
Oh, this is like the Sue Bird pick. Like, they deserve to be there.
Ooh, yeah. Shout out to the Seattle sports legends. Let's
Yes.
go.
And Sue Bird is retiring.
I know I'm going to see
goat.
her. Well, this podcast will come out after, but
Right.
yeah. I will have seen Sue Bird in her last season. Same, yeah.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
Got to pick up a Sue Bird jersey.
Oh, she's the GOAT.
Gotta.
Absolutely.
Gotta swoop.
And their jerseys have just been getting cooler and cooler.
Right?
Like
I feel like they're almost like Oregon where they have so many different versions of them.
Mm-hmm.
I love that the WNBA kind of got that revamp, I think 2 years ago, where they kind of redid the jerseys of every city and kind of was trying to go away from the more European style jersey where the advertisement was like the main like visual on the jersey, and now they've kind of centered them more around the city because they made the city editions for the WNBA where they really wanted to focus on the city that the teams were each individually from, and I think they did a great job.
Community.
Revamping their jerseys.
The new logo the Storm have is so cool. It's like the Space Needle with like the little like lightning bolt in it. It's
way better
It's
than
clean.
a cloud with the
Oh, yeah.
word storm above it that they had for like the entire early 2000s.
It just felt like a late 90s, early 2000s logo.
Kind of grungy.
Yeah. And it had that weird, like, red.
Well, it's like what the Sonics did in the 90s. They added red for no reason.
I don't
It's
like
no,
that.
Green and yellow.
Green and yellow. That classic 70s green and yellow.
I like that, but the one that I'm seeing with some orange in it and red is kind of cool. This one? You see that? Is that the one that you're talking about?
See, the one to the right. That's the one that
Like
we're all like,
Sue
yeah,
Bird's
let's go.
rookie year. Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh-wee, Chase. Last pick of the first round.
Freaking wraparound, man.
Dude, I feel like for this draft, it's a great
It's a good
position to be in.
Yeah.
Man, yeah. You
Yes,
get to
but you guys have
determine-
also left me in a weird position because you guys have all drafted different sports. And do I mean, I feel like I'm going to have to be the first person to repick, like, you know, the number 2 team for a specific sport.
I don't
If
know.
I was you, there are two that I would take that are both different sports than everything that we've taken. But
Yeah, I know.
I'm not you and you're not me. You gotta
Exactly.
you gotta
Yeah,
do
yeah.
you. You already know. You got this.
I know I'm me, thanks.
Are you sure? Are you sure you're you? We're gonna need to do a deep dive.
Yep.
Is Chase?
Is he chasing?
No,
his
he's
picks?
not.
Your picks are the ones I'm like kind of antsy about. I'm like, if there's anyone who's gonna take shit that I want, it'll be you.
Yeah, I know there's one pick that I could absolutely take from you, but I'm not going to do it.
No, you should.
No, I
No, because
should.
if you think it's the one, you should do it because I might surprise
Yeah.
you.
I have a feeling.
Might
that
surprise you. I might surprise you.
Take it.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do it.
You got to play to win.
Yeah, I am going to play to win, and I'm going to choose the sport that I actually participated in college, and I'm going to take the Oregon Track and Field Club.
I knew it. From Eugene?
Yeah, from Eugene, Oregon. I mean, Oregon State, are you kidding me? Come on. now.
Hey, watch out, we have a beaver right here.
Yeah, that's hey, great engineering program.
Hey,
Can't
they're a
say
land, air,
for-
and sea grant school. All right.
All right. Well, first off, an athlete that participated at this university, Prefontaine, was the one that originally got me into the sport of track and field, and I thought that I was going to be a 2-miler, but was not. They've historically created probably one of the greatest sports communities, I'd say, in the entire U.S. Around just the city that Oregon Track and Field is in, and that is Eugene, known as Track and Field USA.
Tracktown.
Tracktown USA.
Also a great little town.
Oh,
Amazing. I would move there.
I would move there too.
In a heartbeat. It's
The
so
porch
chill.
scene off the hook.
Okay, so now we're going to go a little tangent. I'm sorry, Chase, but you're right, dude. We talked about this.
Ben and I were on the phone the other day talking about the porch scene.
The porch scene.
The porch sitting.
Housing prices are crazy, and realistically, like, teachers in Washington make way better money than in Oregon, so, like, it's hard to justify, like, selling a house that's in Seattle proper to move to Eugene. After staying in Eugene, I'm convinced, and I grew up with a porch, but going and renting a place that had a porch, I'm putting a porch in my front.
Yeah, why not?
I'm doing that.
Yeah.
That'll be a remodel.
Porch life.
Eugene. Porch life, Tracktown. Go.
100%. But yes, going off a Tracktown USA, something that I think is almost more significant than the city itself is the place that they compete at, and that is Hayward Field. And it is probably one of the only places in the world that I know that is referenced because of the way that you feel when you either go there as a fan or have the pleasure of competing. Sadly, when I competed there, I didn't really feel the Hayward magic. That everyone speaks about, but that's also because they kept us under the stadium for about 60 minutes before our race after we warmed up, which was quite absurd. But going off of what Matt was talking about earlier about not only having a rich history, but like competing at a very high level now. Like they won both indoor and outdoor nationals last year, which was pretty freaking awesome. Cole Hawker was absolutely dominant in indoor. He ended up winning the 3K and the 1500 indoor, which was pretty awesome, as he was a 19-year-old phenom posting incredible times in both of those events. They actually broke the indoor distance medley relay. Him and Cooper Tier and two other guys were able to do that last year, which was pretty freaking impressive. But also, Hayward Field just got a new renovation, and it is even more phenomenal than it has ever been. It went from having a very iconic green and wood stadium to now being one of probably the most visual, like, appealing stadiums in any sport ever.
Ben showed me it's beautiful.
Yeah, I saw pictures of that.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Ben, you were saying it's unique too because there's not many track and field stadiums like that in the U.S., correct?
I've spent a lot of time at Hayward Field in the last decade, just going there for high-level meets. And the different, like, historic Hayward Field before the remodel was special, you're right, because of the wood bleachers where you could sit where people have sat for 100 years and watched track and field races. And it's called Historic Hayward Field because it is one of the places where the most world records have been set. Like, it's historic because more world record marks have been posted in Hayward Field than any other track in the United States. But the new remodel is so unique because even at old historic Hayward Field, you'd have to leave the proper venue to go see the throwing events, which were all stationed outside of the arena. Now everything happens on the main field. And I'm saying everything. The hammer, the javelin, the shot put, the disc, the pole vault, all the jumps, everything is happening on the infield. It was designed to accommodate world athletics so that they could hold international meets there, and you could sit in a seat and see every event and not have to leave the venue. And that is unique, like, of any track in the United States. There is not another spot that you can go to where you can see absolutely everything from your seat. And the ambiance is amazing. The seats are comfortable. It's not like when you go to other stadiums. I mean, shit, if you go to a place here in Seattle, think about when you're trying to get in front of people, right? They always have to stand up, and it's an inconvenience. There was so much thought put into the design of that field. You can sit down comfortably, and people can still get in and out of the aisle in front of you without you having to move.
That's nice.
Every seat in the whole stadium is cushioned. They're all super comfortable. They're not the short stadium seats where you're kind of crunched with your arms. Like, everything about it is incredible. The way the sun tracks in the stadium, you're never getting cooked out. Just a phenomenal facility, for sure. I couldn't hype it up enough.
Dude, it looks like a Roman hippodrome, honestly.
It's like a spaceship.
Like, go look up the hippodrome. It looks like a hippodrome. It's so cool. It really, I think they tried to make it timeless when they designed it.
And they kept the history ingrained, like, in the facility. There, if you look at pictures, you'll see this huge, almost like torch structure. And when you're actually there and you get to peer inside of it, I mean, the outside is all modeled with famous figures of Oregon tracks. So you have, like, Bill Bowerman and Ashton Eaton, Prefontaine all along the outside. But when you look inside, they took the bleachers from the old wooden bleachers, and it's all constructed on the inside of those. So they preserved those seats that people have sat in for hundreds of years.
Amazing.
That's amazing.
Within this torch, like this international torch. That is a fucking great. If Oregon track didn't go in the first round, I would be questioning our college sports
Validity
acumen.
of this draft.
Yeah, I mean, just to keep talking about how amazing that stadium is if you like look at the specs of like underneath the stadium, it's amazing. Like it looks like nothing I have ever seen out of any like any professional like track and field facilities. Like it is ridiculous how much detail, like Ben was saying, that they put into that stadium and just the little things that the Oregon track team gets the benefit from. And I mean, why not have the best for the best?
And then they make sure they have other things around it that pull you in that aren't necessarily track related. So when you're walking on the backside of the stadium and you look across one of the training fields, you see another, I think it's like their basketball facility, and they have this huge like mural along the side, and it's all ducks flying. And then they have like their mascot, and he's doing like a fucking Superman in the middle of them. And it's just funny things like that are also placed that engage like every kind of viewer. Right, you don't have to be a sports viewer to see that mural and be like, "Oh, that's comedic. Like that's funny. It's Donald Duck doing like a swan dive, flying with other ducks." I don't know, little things that make that place great. Nice, awesome pick. That is the first round. Yo, I said it earlier, but we're sponsored by some great sponsors today. Willie Craze Pictures got us. Got to hype up that Willie Craze Goes to College.
That's right, and it's it's straight to DVD because it's NC-17, unfortunately, or fortunately.
But you can pick it up as seen on TV.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, let's get into that, and then we'll get back into more draft.
Mount Draftmore.
This July, oh yeah, from the studio that brought you an origin story of Willie Craze comes the hot sequel film, Willie Craze Goes to College.
Is Willie Craze in the classroom? Willie Craze present!
In this film, Willie's gonna learn what it takes to be the greatest salesman on the planet.
Willie Craze here! I use the library every weeknight and weekend!
But little does Willie know that the rise to the top is full of hard lessons non-stop.
Willie Craze here! Have you tried my new triple device delight? It has a marijuana bong, it has a beer bong, and it has a cocaine dispensary. Willie, why do you always say your name before you talk? Willie Craze here! I don't know!
This family-friendly film is sure to warm your hearts and show you a story of a man who can go from top to bottom to top on a roller coaster ride of success.
Willie Craze, we are proud to give you your diploma today. Willie Craze here! Thank you!
This fall, check out Willie Craze. Tickets available now. Also available online.
Mount Draftmore.
All right, round 2. Chase, you're in the wraparound.
And I'm stuck between two different sports and two different teams. And I think I'm going to have to go with the University of North Carolina men's basketball team.
Ooh, the Tar Heels.
The Tar Heels. And I'm going to start with their uniforms. I think that they have probably one of the most iconic colorways in all of basketball. I mean, you can see their colors transfer over to all types of Jordan wear because the GOAT himself, Michael Jordan, did attend the University of North Carolina, and he kind of started the iconicness of those colors, but their greatness goes beyond just Michael Jordan, and that's a lot of thanks to Dean Smith, their most famous head coach, I'd say. He coached from 1961 to 1997, and over those just about terrible math, 38 years, or 28, sorry. He was able to accumulate almost 900 wins. He had 879 wins and contributed 2 national championships, which is a third of theirs. They have a total of 6, and I'm pretty sure that they're third in all-time basketball behind UCLA, another team, and then they're third. But yeah, just an overall great basketball program. I mean, every year, at least recently, like they continue to be a competitor that everybody is looking forward to see play in March Madness every year, and just about every team that goes up against them, just because of their long history, does a damn good job at trying to take them down. But even this year, they struggled through the first couple rounds of March Madness, but they did pretty damn good for a lot of hate that they were receiving this year, just because there was a lot of doubters because they didn't really have what people would have seen as like the most stacked starting 5. But they showed a lot of grit and really out-rebounded a lot of teams in March Madness this year, which just like that just goes to show hard work when you want the ball more than the other team. And a lot of the time, rebounds, turnovers, and free throws are what win games, and that did help them out this year, which was pretty freaking cool to see their hard work pay off.
Yeah, the Tar Heels are one of those teams where going into a season, they can be ranked like just middle of the pack and still come out at the end swinging as a contender.
Well, yeah, I think they were a 9 seed. People were sleeping on them this year, and I'm pretty sure they made it to the Elite 8. So I mean, goes to show that every year they've got what it takes to tango.
Now I'm trying to think, was it not this previous year, but the year before that they went and won?
I think that was 2018 when they beat Gonzaga.
Is that the most recent time they've won?
I think so.
Yeah, like
I thought they went in the last couple of years.
Well, they did. They went this year.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what I thought.
Because they beat Duke in the Final Four.
That's right.
Yeah. But then who'd they lose to? Nova? Did Nova win again this year?
I didn't think Villanova won.
Or no, was it Kansas? Maybe it was Kansas.
I think Kansas won.
It was an all blue blood Final Four. I know that.
Yeah, it was Kansas.
It was Kansas. Yeah.
It was Kansas. That's right. Ooh. Tar Heels basketball. That's a good pick.
It is.
That was the first like college basketball team I remember in grade school that I got into, and it was all because of the colors and the hats.
That Carolina blue.
That Carolina blue pops on a hat. I remember when I was in the 6th grade, the white hat with that blue CN on it, or NC on it, that was like for some reason, that was the clothing commodity that all the kids wanted. And they have one of the most storied, you probably already said this, I can't even remember, dog shit memory, but one of the most storied rivalries in all of sports. Like them and Duke. If you've ever been, if you're a North Carolina native, you're like, oh, you even know how close they are? Those schools are basically neighbors. Like you can drive from one to the other within like 20 minutes, I think. When I went there, they weren't that far apart. And then you have NC State, which is just a hop and skip away, which is like the redheaded stepbrother. But I mean, all three of them.
Yeah.
It's a great
Hotbed
trifecta
of
of
basketball
university.
right there,
Yeah. Yeah. In a literal like swamp ass pit. Like it's hot as hell, humid as hell. They're out there hooping in nice facilities. That's a good pick, dude.
Tar Heels.
Nice. All right, back around to me. I'm also going to finish out my basketball selections. I'm going to go with Kentucky. Kentucky Wildcats men's basketball. Now, Kentucky hasn't really been on top of the mountain in a little bit in recent history. Their most recent titles going back to 2012 with Anthony Davis, and like John Wall was on that team too. But when you're talking about the longevity and just like you can't ever count Kentucky out because the way they're built currently is with like the one and done 5-star recruits. You always have to factor in Kentucky at the beginning of every season, and if they get in the tournament, you never know if they're going to put together with all these guys that are elite athletes. They're built in an interesting way, but it's kind of like a boom or bust kind of a thing nowadays, but it works sometimes. But if you're thinking about the longevity of just this program, I mean, there's a reason why they've been getting elite recruits for such a long time, and the fact that they are one of the blue bloods of college basketball. If you're thinking who's at the top, you're thinking UCLA, you're thinking UNC, you're thinking Duke, Kansas, Kentucky. That's it. It's them and then everybody else. That's the top tier. Kentucky has 11 or no, not 11, 8. I think they have 8. Let me double check on this. 8 national titles, second behind UCLA, who has 11. They have 15 Final Four appearances. They have the most all-time wins across college basketball with 2,092 wins. It's more than any other program in college basketball. There are winning percentages off the charts. We talked about winning percentage with Alabama. Kentucky's men's basketball winning percentage is 763. That's nuts. That's over 3. They're winning over 3/4 of their games all time. That is absolutely nuts.
I mean, it was a very iconic moment. I think I was like 11 years old when they finally got their 2000th win.
Yeah.
As a program, like UK 2K, like that was a huge, like significant accomplishment for them. And yeah.
And just like when you're talking about stability of Kentucky, they're the only school to have 5 different head coaches win a national championship. So Rupp won it in 48, 49, 51, and 58. Joe B. Hall followed winning in 78. Pitino won in 96. Tubby Smith won in 98. And Calipari in 2012. So it doesn't matter who's at the helm. Kentucky just breathes excellence. And yes, in the last decade, again, this is part of the equation. They don't have nearly the run of success as they did previously. But like I said, you can't count out Kentucky because they're consistently getting 5-star guys in that program. Even if it is the one-and-done model, you can't count them out. It's an elite program with a lot of history. They are a blue blood in college basketball. And, I mean, you just got to get one of those top-tier programs, and Kentucky's it.
I mean, but yes, as you talk about, they're not, having a lot of championship success in modern time, but their NBA turnover is very, very significant. I mean,
Calipari is synonymous with arguably ruining college basketball.
Yeah.
Like his one and done model destroyed.
It works.
It works, but it destroyed cohesive, good college basketball.
Yeah.
Like the decades where you'd have long runs of college programs dominating are kind of dead. Like there are still like strongholds within the NCAA where those college basketball programs exist, but overwhelmingly the one and done model has changed everything.
Oh, absolutely. It turned it upside down.
And that's all because of Kentucky.
Yeah.
Like he was the only one who embraced that model. Yeah. All the other coaches at the time were like, no, we want you here for 4 years. That's the point of building the program.
Yeah, no, because it used to be where like even the Dukes and the UNCs didn't do that. But now they're not fully to where Kentucky is in terms of fully embracing it, but they're more on that line than they were previously. But Kentucky, I mean, you got to take it all, warts and all, so I wanted to get it done.
Damn, 2 basketball programs?
Now I'm done with basketball.
Dude, you're crazy. Well, wait, but you only had to take 1 basketball. You took 2.
Well, I know, but women's basketball versus men's basketball.
Dude, you're crazy.
I mean, he
You
took the
double-dipped.
number 1 women's basketball team
I know.
and the number 2 men's. I mean,
That's looking like a pretty good school. I don't know. I'm not going to question
you
it.
like shooting hoops.
Yeah.
Matt's the team for you.
Yeah.
Getting it done.
Wow.
All is life, brother.
Dang.
Dude, that's sweet because that means I get to wait on basketball because everyone else has basketball teams. Let me shake my fists out like I'm Henry Cavill.
My CGI mustache.
Yeah.
That's the most unrealistic fight in all of cinematic history.
Except what he does with his fist is pretty cool.
Yeah, but the thing is
Oh,
Tom,
nope. Doesn't matter after that. I wasn't talking about the actual fight. I was just talking about
No,
loading up the
he's
fist.
charged up.
Loading. Chick.
Oh, was that in what is that?
Mission Impossible.
He
Yeah,
literally
yeah.
like shakes his fist as if he's loading them.
I love that fight scene though. It's so fun. Oh. All right. Well, it's up to me now. I'm going to go I'm not going to pick 2 of the same sport. I'm going to do a different sport.
Oh, you coward.
I'm going to go with the Stanford women's swimming and diving team.
You fucker.
Fucker. Oh, man.
I could punch you.
Okay. So, in 2017, the NCAA championship triumphs not only came for Stanford's women's water polo team, but also their women's swimming and diving team, the latter of whom included Katie Ledecky and Simone Manuel. The 2 Olympic gold medalists were part of a 30-strong Cardinal cohort that made it to Rio 2016, the largest from any U.S. university. And not only that, but at the World Championships recently, Cardinal swimmers finished with 14 medals. Katie Ledecky even became this past year the most decorated woman in world championship history. Stanford's swimming and diving program for women is, I mean, that's storied, at least in recent history. I'm not finding too much going back farther than 2017, but I mean, that's looking pretty good. That's looking pretty damn good. So,
I mean, yeah, in Katie Ledecky, you're talking about probably the most talented female swimmer ever. So, I mean, shit, you could just say Stanford Swimming and Katie Ledecky, and that's about all you have to say.
yeah.
They're elite. Like I think the vast majority of Olympic swimmers are going through like a handful of programs, and of that percentage, a lot of them are going through Stanford. I think it's like what Stanford, Cal, and like Florida. Those are all.
Yeah,
Those are the
Texas.
swimming schools. I think Michigan's got a good swim team too.
Well, that's my pick.
Good job.
Yeah,
Great pick.
thank you.
Dang, dude, I thought you were going to drop more on it, so I thought I'd have a little more time, you son of a gun.
I honest to God, I've been trying to dig up more information, and I can't even find a Wikipedia for their swimming and diving team. So I'm just like, I got the information. I got Katie Ledecky. That's about all I could dig up.
I mean that's a good rationale.
That's basically, for those listening that don't really know who Katie Ledecky is, she is basically the, Michael Jordan of women's swimming.
Okay, so we've taken some serious sports programs, and I feel like the latter half with the first pick, I'm at a wraparound at this point. So my next two picks have to be good. Everyone already has basketball, so I think I can save my basketball pick for the last pick. No one's going to take another y'all would be insane to take another basketball team. So I'm going to dig a little deep in the sports pocketbook here. We're all in the Pacific Northwest, and, there are some things that we don't get exposed to as often. And I'm thinking about lacrosse. Lacrosse on our side of the country isn't huge. It does exist. Some high schools have programs. But on the East Coast,
It's huge.
it is huge. It is huge. And there is one program that dunks on everyone, and it's not even close. Syracuse lacrosse is the best. They have 10 national championships, 7 of which have come since 93. Like, they're dominant. They go hard. They have the most championships in lacrosse of anyone else. If you talk to someone who plays lacrosse, they will tell you that is the dream. That is the place they want to go play. If they can't get into Syracuse, they'll try Johns Hopkins, even though academically Johns Hopkins is harder to get into. So,
And then it's like Duke, and then everything else from there.
yeah, then everything else, it's just like trickles down. You do notice that all of the schools that are dominant at lacrosse, though, they're all in the East. There aren't West Coast teams. Lacrosse is not a West Coast sport.
No.
So paying homage to a sport that I don't know so much about, but I respect, it's intense, it's physical, it's fast-paced. I mean,
It's football, hockey, handball, all combined into one.
Yeah, and total aspects of
Soccer, too,
football,
yeah.
too. Like, when you're getting near the goal, there's dudes getting absolutely laid out.
And those lacrosse players are big, too. A lot of those guys are like 6'3", 6'4", 6'5".
yeah, like the school that I coach at, they have a lacrosse team. And that was new to me because most high schools out here don't have lacrosse. And it's a spring sport. So they take a lot of really great athletes from track, which sucks. And you're right. They take big body kids who are 6'3", 210 pounds,
Yeah.
super athletic. It's like, fuck, you could be dominating on the track. You're out here throwing a ball with a stick.
Well, I know the quarterback from the high school I'm at plays lacrosse. There you go.
You're right. A lot of our football players play
A
lacrosse
lot
too.
of crossover there.
I mean, they just love the contact.
Yep.
I mean, like, that's, I mean, my college didn't have football. The lacrosse team was the closest, like, brotherhood type team that we had, where it's the nitty gritty, get the job done type team.
I think it is growing out here, though, because, like, I have seen more and more programs. Like, I know there's, like, a lot of regional, like, kind of, like, city-based club, like, lacrosse teams. But also, I've seen more, like, schools starting lacrosse programs.
Did you talk about the history of lacrosse?
Go for it.
So it was actually started by First Nations or Native American folks, and originally was known as in English, stickball.
That's funny.
Yeah, it was played in the St. Lawrence Valley area by the Algonquin tribe, followed by other tribes in the eastern half of North America and around the western Great Lakes. So if anyone out there is wondering about the origins, that's where it comes from. Pretty cool.
Dude, that is cool. I didn't know that. Thanks for sharing.
Also, Jim Brown played lacrosse at Syracuse.
Dude, sick.
Yeah. So NFL Hall of Famers playing. That shows you a little bit of the history of Syracuse lacrosse. They got some dudes.
I mean, of all the lacrosse programs in the nation, they generate the most revenue. So if we're talking about sports programs that we're trying to, like, these ones are helping aid our school, right? We got to think of how these are going to aid our school, not just in the program, but outside of the program. Because when a program brings in revenue, it helps. It's like a sea, like what is it? A rising sea lifts all boats.
Yeah.
This sea is going to lift all the boats. So on this team, I'm not trying to like make my case yet, but I will just like a little teaser. Syracuse lacrosse and Alabama football, they're making money. They're making all the money in their sports. No argument. No question. That's it. That's the first round, y'all. It's time to get into halftime.
Halftime.
All right. So knowing that we are drafting the most elite college programs of different sports, let's go into more of a wish list type of a theme here. So put on your fan cap. We all have watched college sports or at least had some familiarity with college sports throughout the years. What's one school that you wish was elite at a sport? That, man, if you had all the power in the world, that they could have Alabama money, they could have Alabama greatness, who would you cast a beautiful spell of greatness to?
Let me start with mine and get mine out of the way. I went to like a D. What's the lowest ranking?
D3.
D3.
I went to a D3 school.
Well, is that the lowest?
I don't
That's
know.
the lowest of the Ds.
Of NCAA.
JUCO is low.
The football stadium looked like a high school football stadium, maybe even a little bit like smaller. It was not prominent. I would wish that school, could get really like. I think the women's swimming team was always on point.
Yeah.
From what I remember, but get like another really prolific sport, right, to be kind of prolific at, right, to excel at, to bring in some more money, funnel some more income into the school.
Well, and that's one of the wild things. When you think about college sports, like, yes, it kind of exists in its own entity, and, like, college athletes are in their own unique realm compared to, like, your standard college students. But it is true, the more success an athletic program has or a sport team has, that's more money that, yes, goes a lot towards the athletic department, but at the same time, that's more money the college is receiving as well. So it is, through the whole, like, trickle down of college finance, it eventually gets to things that could use some improvement, whether it be buildings or hiring faculty or things like that.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Very cool.
Matt, what do you think?
Oh, that's easy. My alma mater, the Beavs. I wish the Beavs had an elite football team. Simple.
What sport do they excel at?
Baseball. But like,
Which is fitting for you.
Yeah, it's fitting for me. But yeah, no, if they could have a consistently elite, if they could be like in top dog in Pac-12, I'd be in heaven. Because there's nothing better to me than, like, the atmosphere at a college football game is impeccable, especially in a place like Corvallis, Oregon, where they're similar to Eugene. There's nothing there but the school. Like, it embodies the whole college town. So if that place could just be like rocking every single Saturday for weeks and weeks and weeks that fall term, and they're just winning, and you get those blackouts, those Saturday night games where they're just kicking the shit out of people, it'd be heaven. I love it. To go to a Rose Bowl would be like the best thing. I'd love that.
Man, Rose Bowl's about to die.
I know,
because
so
of the way they're
sad.
fucking
they're
with
cannibalizing it.
Dude,
yeah.
they're killing it. And it's all for TV contracts. And TV is dying.
It's all streaming now.
Cable
What
sucks.
in the fuck?
Yeah, it's a silly thing. It's definitely short-sighted, that's for sure.
You're paying for ads.
Actually, and this is a little bit of a tangent. Obviously, I want to hear your guys' responses, but one last thing to do at halftime would also be thinking about, like, what is the future of college sports?
Okay, well.
Like, what's the ideal future?
Let
Dude,
Chase go.
there's two questions
let
that we
Chase
got to
go.
answer. Yeah.
So pick my college team or share my thoughts on where college sports are going?
The first question first, because I still got to get there too.
I think out of any sports team that I'd want to see greatness, that'd probably be UW basketball.
Oh, man.
Just
That'd be
because
amazing.
like there's been glimpses of greatness, and I've gotten to fall in love with some players growing up, like just being an absolute diehard IT fan. Isaiah Thomas, for those that don't know, very undersized basketball player, had a great college career. at UW.
Cold-blooded.
Yep, and then like has bounced around the NBA, but has really shown like what it is like for a man that is 5'10" to excel in a sport, which I mean really hasn't been done since like Allen Iverson, just 6 foot, just absolutely balling it up against dudes that are averaging around 6'6",
Dude, he was so good when he was on the Celtics, too.
Oh,
it was
that is probably one of my favorite like sports player fandoms. Just like what he was going through in his life, and just like losing his sister, and just absolutely balling out, just despite the circumstances, and absolutely carrying that team.
Man, and UW should be elite at basketball. Like, Seattle is absolutely a hotbed for basketball talent.
Especially
we
high
should
school
be good.
basketball.
Yeah, we should be so good.
Yeah, but I mean, we should be, and we should also have a pro team.
That too.
I mean, a lot of should haves, a lot of we should.
Although we
but-
might get, I mean, we
Hoping.
we
I'll
have the
believe it
storm
when it happens.
though. We have the storm.
But women's and this is not a knock to them. It's no like when you watch a guy's sport versus a women's sport. Earlier, Chase and I were talking about volleyball. Sorry to go a little tangential here, but he was talking about how awesome it is to watch men's basketball or men's volleyball, and volleyball's awesome. But it's like you think about like high school. There's no men's volleyball in high school. It's women's volleyball, and so sometimes it's nice for women to have their own thing, because then you get to see them excel uncompared to like the male. Versus when there's a female league and a male league, it doesn't matter who the person is. There always ends up being some kind of comparison between the two gendered leagues. And you just look at men's basketball versus women's basketball, like the size, explosiveness, capacity to shoot deep. It just outweighs the sport so that guys, I'm not saying that watching women's basketball isn't fun. Like I said, I'm going to a game. But it's just not, it doesn't hit like guys do. Like when a guy explodes up and hits the rim, like there's nothing like that. Like that is...
Yeah, I mean, you're seeing a human being of unproportional size do something insane. Like they're jumping 10 feet in the air and throwing down a ball with insane amount of force. With another giant dude standing in his way, trying to jump over him.
LeBron's 6'8", 250.
Yeah, ridiculous.
To love women's basketball, is to have a profound appreciation for the fundamentals of the sport at their highest level.
The technician aspect of basketball.
Exactly. Like if you are a big fan of WNBA, you're a big fan of seeing the way basketball is supposed to be played at its highest level. Men don't do the basics the best because they're so good at doing everything else that they're pushing the bounds of the sport in new ways. So fundamentals kind of get lost because they're innovators. Whereas like the WNBA is all about like the foundation, hammering it home, and that's what really kills it.
Well, it's like you'll have a point guard, or I mean, like damn near every girl in the NBA can handle the ball phenomenally.
Yeah, their handling is the best. Their passing is also impeccable.
Yes, and it's like when the ball is being dribbled down the court by a girl, like they're not going to do what Giannis does and takes 2 steps from the half court and dunks it. Like
right.
They're way more focused on team basketball.
Yeah.
Like it's not this, ooh, let me get myself in an isolation situation so I can score for my team. It's let's pass the ball around like real basketball is supposed to be played, and let's find the most open shot.
And it's like the difference between, say, like the brand of basketball that like a school like Villanova plays in Kentucky. 2 different things. Like Villanova's got walk-ons or people who 2-3-star dudes who they develop over time, and they create a great team basketball environment. That's why they win. Kentucky's like, no, I'm going to go get this guy at 6'8".
Yeah.
Because he's a freak.
That's very true.
Yeah.
I mean, like the women's team, they take advantage of creating open space and reducing open
run
space.
plays. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're right. The men, half the time, they get in ISO positions.
Hero ball,
and then
yeah.
it's just like, who's the star? Star ball.
Yep.
Yeah, it just feels kind of like different sides of the coin, right? I almost wish both could be combined into one.
Funny, we were talking about that. I said I wish that there were more professional sports leagues that were co-ed. It would change the dynamic of the game in a fun way.
Yeah. Well,
But the problem is like consumerism. Like, hey, thanks for dedicating your time to listening to this podcast. We really appreciate it. How many consumers, if they have to pick between what they're deviating their attention to, they only have so much time. Would you rather watch men be really explosive and flashy or watch fundamentals? I'm not saying that there's one that's better. I'm saying it comes down to preference.
Yeah.
Right?
yeah.
An attention span, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What program would I like to
Yes.
see?
Yes. There we go. Bring us back around.
Alma Mater, UW as well. I want them to have a baller track program. That's really like where my heart is. I love track and field. It is the most participated, like more people participate in track and field than any other sport in the nation. Like, think
a little
about
bit
that.
unfair though, because there's a lot of like sub sports within track and field, right?
No, like, I wouldn't say that. Like, because it is a whole sport. Like, yes, you might have 21 events at a track meet, but that doesn't make, I don't think that that is a way to say like, oh, that's unfair. Because how many positions do you have if you play like football?
Yeah,
right.
like there's
okay.
11 guys on the field, and like
There's 52 people on a team.
That's a
Yeah.
good way to think about it.
Whereas I think like, and it's crazy being in Washington on our way over, like we're recording at Matt's house today, but on our way over to Matt's, you drive past UW, and Pat, they have a beautiful track. It's purple. You don't see.
That's
it's,
awesome,
It's
yeah.
the only purple track I've ever seen. But it's also very sad to drive by because you can tell it's not a place that people go to watch track. They don't have grandstands.
No.
It looks like
Bleachers, yeah.
they have one set of bleachers, and you can totally tell it's for a conference level meet where it's basically going to be two teams and like the most minuscule amount of spectators. Versus you drive 4.5, 5 hours south to Eugene, and you have the greatest track, arguably in the world, built. Like, and they're in the same conference.
That's crazy.
Like, I wish UW had not. They don't even necessarily need to have their own historic Hayward Field, but I wish they had a program that warranted them having that same type of setup and the same type of energy. Because if this is the most participated sport in people that are high school and lower, it should translate into college and into pros and into everyone's engagement within the sport. So I would love to go to UW
Yeah.
and see a high-level track meet, not have to drive to Oregon through Portland, which is just an asshole for traffic, too.
It
How
is.
long
You have to
drive
cross,
through
how many
there?
times you got to cross that goddamn river? Like
Dude.
4 times.
you know what would have
And
been
it
a
goes
smart
from-
idea?
It goes from 3 lanes in Washington to 2 lanes downtown where the traffic is like doubling.
And then you get to like right where you're trying to get to like Beaverton and everything, and it's just like, oh, here's all your lanes again.
Yep.
Like, what the
That's
fuck?
kind of what it's like in Seattle, though. It's like you're on I-5, you're fine. Boom! All of a sudden, we're going to hit, what is it, Seneca is going to take a whole lane of traffic, plus the sometimes open, mostly not open, extra lane, right, for traffic. And then it goes down to like 2 lanes, and there's some weird exits underneath the convention center. Then once you get out, like past that to about Lakeview, it opens back up.
Dude, it doesn't even compare. Like,
You don't
I
think
know,
so?
hell no.
Portland
No.
is its own brand of
Because
hell.
when you're on I-5 and you're coming into downtown, I-5 breaks off into 2 parts. There's the right side, the left side. The left side is the part you're talking about, where it goes 2 lanes and then the exit for Seneca. But then you also have the ones that are going on like John Street.
Yep.
So there's 2 lanes up there. Those 2 lanes merge into 1, and you're right. The Seneca will take 1 lane, and then there's 2. But immediately after you pass Seneca, it's not even a quarter mile before that top part of the freeway merges back up. So you go right back into 3-4 lanes.
It's true, but
It is not like
It
Portland,
makes
where
no
Portland
sense.
is 2 lanes from the river all the way down to like Beaverton.
Yeah.
That's a shitty configuration, and it's all floating above the river, so they can't even add to it.
no, it's all like huge overpasses.
Gigantic
Huge.
bridges for no reason.
That are ugly.
oh, yeah.
Ugly bridges.
That whole, like, God, can you imagine how nice that river downtown area would be if they actually, like, gave a shit?
Yeah.
Oh,
Also,
man.
if like they did something about their homeless, like I
Yeah.
realize, I don't know what you do, but don't let them shit in the middle of the street.
Yeah.
It's unappealing for a visitor like myself.
It's a humanitarian crisis. I mean, it's not good for them either, right? We shouldn't be letting people just live in the street. Like, we should provide homes for them or something. But you're right. The river just looks like a dump. That was my first impression
Like
when I went to
poop
Portland.
brown water.
I was
Just
like,
gross.
what is this? This is like, you wouldn't want to go down there and hang out,
No, can
right?
you imagine a cool, like a bunch of bars and restaurants right on the riverfront.
Oh, like
Sick.
Chicago.
Yeah.
Like Chicago.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, wow, that was a big... Did we answer the second question?
Well, we might have to table that one for.
Should we table that second one?
We'll table that one for a future college athletics draft.
Where we think college athletics are going.
Or where would you want it to go?
Oh, yeah, that's a whole loaded thing.
Dude.
We don't have
Yeah,
time
we
for
don't
that.
got time.
You know, I'll say one thing. You know where I wanted to go? I want boxing programs. I want boxing programs in high schools. Let kids beat the shit out of each other. It's fine.
I mean, that's what they do in like New Zealand and stuff in grade school. Is still like, at least way back in the day, they just let the kids have 5 minutes to duke out whatever argument in the boxing ring.
Dude,
and
That shit would never fly, dude.
It can be
and
safe.
once that 5 minutes is
Yeah, it
over,
can be
then
safe,
the argument has to
sure.
be over.
It
As
can be safe.
As safe as football.
Here's okay. No. Here's my
one lawsuit and then it's done.
my argument is get them a mouth guard, get them a headpiece, get them a vest, and get them a crotch guard that's pretty. Like these things are thick, and
It's never gonna
Dude,
Let's just put them in football.
When you
pads.
think of like if you think of iconic boxing individuals,
yeah.
the three that come to mind are go.
Okay, I gotta say
Rocky Balboa. No, just kidding.
no. Hold on, wait.
No, you're taking too long. You don't get to think. Like you don't get to look it up. Three individuals who box. Go,
Man, it's I'm bad with names, man.
dude. There
Hold
are
on.
like literal icons that should just be
I got
there.
you. The greatest sports marketer of all time,
No.
Muhammad Ali.
Okay,
Hold on. Well,
so
yeah, I like Muhammad Ali,
No, but let's
I like
just-
Canelo Alvarez right now. I like
know, but-
and I like Tyson Fury
I
and
know,
Floyd
but
Mayweather.
the whole point of what I'm the point that I'm making, right? If you were going to ask, if we surveyed the majority of people, boxers, pure boxers, the majority of them are going to say Muhammad Ali or Mike Tyson.
It's true.
And the problem with, like, it would be cool if boxing was a thing, but there's a reason boxing has died. As amazing as Muhammad Ali is, watching him in his old age was hard for people
Yes.
because his brain got destroyed from the amount of times this dude got punched in the fucking head. He
had a strong jaw.
And he was amazing. He didn't get hit. Like, he was iconic for being a dude that could dodge.
Dance.
Well, he could
Yeah.
also take a hit,
He's
though.
nimble, yeah.
But
That's his other strength.
But think about that. In an era where we are hyper focused on CTE in football, and high school football programs in the nation have really gone into decline. Like, there is a real possibility that by the time we are the age of grandparents, high school football could be dead
Yeah.
Wow.
because of the risk that CTE poses. And that's a sport where you're not focusing on hitting the head. You want kids to box where they are literally knocking their brains around. It don't matter if you have headgear, because all your head has to do is jolt at a certain velocity and your brain moves.
Damn.
And you're fucked, dude. Like, boxing is cool, but there's a reason why that sport has died.
Yeah, it's turned into NFL players calling each other out. Let's fight.
Or YouTubers.
Yeah. or
Oh my
YouTubers.
God.
World Star.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, grade schoolers, I like that idea, though.
Oh, dude, grade schoolers would be entertaining.
In theory, amazing.
In
practice,
practice,
yeah, probably
yeah.
not.
All right, let's move on.
Yeah, you give us a recap real quick, bud.
All right, so we got Ben with Alabama football program. Also with the Syracuse lacrosse. Is that right?
Yeah, do I need to choose between a men's and women's lacrosse, or are we cool lumping them together?
You can just have lacrosse.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Myself with UCLA men's basketball and Stanford women's swimming and diving.
If that's the case, let's give
They only
Stanford
get Stanford
swim
swimming, yeah.
because their men and women are equally the
Elite,
top.
yeah.
Okay.
And if we're going to count track as a men's and women's, water track should be the same.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm down with that. Matt, UConn women's basketball and Kentucky Wildcats basketball.
Yep.
That threw me for a loop. And then Chase, also good move though. Chase, Eugene track and field, and University of North Carolina men's basketball.
Killer.
Round 3.
Third round, I got to get into my favorite sport. Chase took the one that was obvious. Now, if I was fourth pick, I probably would have picked the same because I don't think anyone is going to go after this one. However, having some kind of like track knowledge, I feel there is a team that is actually better than Oregon historically. Like, Oregon has everything going in terms of the history of track, and they have these really big names. So if name power is what you're going for and what defines a program, then yeah, Oregon is it. But if we're talking about the greatest in terms of which program has won the most championships, it isn't even close. Arkansas has the best track program. They've got 35 championships to Oregon's 22. They also have the so indoor championships. They've got 23 indoor championships. They've got 20 men's indoor championships and 3 women. So on the women's side, Oregon does beat them. But then outdoors, 12 championships. Their men's outdoor team has 12 championships. They have the longest streak of any school of winning championships from 84 to 95. Men's indoor team won every year. 12-year streak, longest track streak. And then their men's team has the second longest outdoor streak behind Southern California from 92 to 99. 8 years of winning national championships. That's compared to Oregon's longest streak, 5 years. Their women's indoor. And their best outdoor, 3 years. So, I mean, Oregon is great, but Arkansas is kind of unmatched in their ability to win national championships. And when I went to USATF Level 2, a lot of the guys who were helping run that training, they were all Arkansas coaches. And the way, I will give them credit, the way they recruit is better than most other track programs. Because a lot of track programs will focus on individual athletes and be like, ooh, you are this star, and I'm going to build a program around you with a lot of walk-ons. But Arkansas doesn't do that. They give a lot of equal treatment to most of their team, so you get a lot more cohesive fits within, like, their relay. Like, Kentucky's women's track team, fucking awesome. They're killers, but they're star power driven, which means on a relay they might have 2 killers and 2, like, pretty good runners. Arkansas, like, really levels the playing field and makes sure everything is cohesive around the track. And it's not just focused on sprints and jumps, but they are great at everything. Sprints, jumps, hurdles, throws, distance. So if there was going to be a track pick that wasn't Oregon, it has to be Arkansas.
Well, that was a pretty good defense.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they're winners. That's for sure. And I mean, they constantly have athletes that are placing at nationals. Like, even like recently, like, you always see those iconic white jerseys with their ugly,
They're like boar.
yeah, on the front of it, but it's like, it's them.
Yeah, because they're the Razorbacks, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they just kind of look like an ugly version of Pumbaa.
Yeah, you're right. A very pissed off,
Yeah,
like,
pissed
aggro
off
version.
Yeah.
Can you think about how random that is, though? Like, at least I get Oregon has excelled at track because, like, I don't know, Pacific Northwest, what do you do? A lot of people do. They run. Like, it's kind of something that you do.
Perfect running weather.
Yeah, but, like, man, Arkansas? Like, really?
Dude, it's hot as hell.
People run down
Humid,
there?
yeah.
Why?
Although Arkansas is beautiful. Have y'all been to the Ozarks?
Mm-mm.
Oof, man, Arkansas's got its own set of mountains that are piney, and it's beautiful there.
It just seems like a random place for, like, an elite track program, you know?
Oh,
I would
for sure.
expect more like
There's a
Like
northeast.
huge-
Florida or-
Yeah.
There's a
like, yeah.
huge outdoor scene in Arkansas, and I have no doubt that track lends itself well to that.
Or like I
So-
would expect, like, I don't know, like California schools to be pretty damn good at track, but
I mean, a lot of those, like,
Southern Cal
South-
has a great program.
Yeah. A lot of those southeast schools are very competitive when it comes to track and field. You got Arkansas, you've got LSU, you've got Florida, like, all like historically great track teams, and in modern day they're still very competitive.
Yeah, like if you were going to rank all the programs based on championships, both indoor and outdoor, men's and women's combined, Arkansas's got 35, LSU's got 32, because their women's outdoor team is the best women's outdoor team in the nation. Southern Cal has 30, and then Oregon is fourth with 22. Then from there, it's like 13 for Florida, UTEP, and UCLA, Texas 11. So, like, those 4 schools dominate track and field overwhelmingly.
gotcha.
For state colleges or universities, for the majority of them, are most students in state or out of state What do you all? What do you know? What do y'all have an idea of that? Because one of the questions in my mind: where are these athletes feeding from? What states are they coming from?
The South. A lot of those, at least sprinters. I mean, distance runners come from like the North typically, but a lot of Texas, Florida, California, at least have the most competitive sprinters historically.
Because they can train all year round. Their weather doesn't hold them back. Versus out here, it's really hard for a trainer or for a sprinter to go all year round when you have cold conditions. Like that really impacts your ability to train. So down south, like they were, and a lot of recruiting is done locally. Like there is national recruiting for sure, especially when you have nationally ranked prospects. Like Lyric Lopez was a 300 hurdler who just graduated out here in Washington, and he's surely getting recruited from colleges all across the country. But equally, the majority of the recruiting is coming locally. UW is going to be going after a lot more Washington track athletes than they're going to go for out-of-state people.
It's just less work, less money spent.
That makes sense.
And it's easier to pitch athletes on that. Like, hey, you are in-state. This college is going to be cheaper than if you go out-of-state and have to pay more. Versus then you save the athletes that you're trying to pull from out-of-state as your top recruits who you're actually going to be paying to come.
Yeah.
And then it's also going to be easier to get those athletes to come to your university and get either gear in front of them or like them seeing the facilities. Which, I mean, is like number one selling point typically.
Another question I have, because this is someone I'm interested in sports. I want to learn more about sports, and I'm sure some of our listeners have this question. Do people internationally pursue United States universities?
Yes.
Because of sports.
So when you, like, I just got back from the World Championships down in Eugene, and it's international. Like I was basically watching the Olympics on a non-Olympic year, and so you have all of these different folks who are representing different countries. But I'll tell you, when you're sitting there up close and the athletes are coming and talking to their coaches, you notice, oh shit, this guy from Estonia is talking to the Georgia coach because he went to the University of Georgia. Most international athletes, like if they have a focus in athletics, they are coming to a United States university because our coaching is greater than everyone. There's a reason why, like, and I'm only going to talk about track and field right here because it's an international sport. Football is not an international sport. Basketball, kind of international, but most players come from within the U.S. Track and field pulls a lot of international talent, and that's because their national teams and their national coaches aren't as good as our college coaches. Like our men's and women's U.S. team this year at Worlds left with over 30 medals, and the next closest was like 20 less for a nation. Like we dominate track in large part because our track universities are the best. Our coaches are the best.
And most of those coaches are going through USA Track and Field, which has like an overall overarching like philosophy of how track is done, and that is like correlated or like it's shown in our colleges as well, and just that like cohesiveness of like how kids are being coached. So like they're being coached similarly growing up by coaches that were a part of USA Track and Field. Exactly. Like I was able to go from Ben to my college coach, and they use very similar like lingo for everything. They call everything the same. We warm up the same. Like it was crazy to go from high school to college and have a coach that or two coaches that had been through the USA Track and Field like training, and it showed like from day one.
And that's not to say that every coach does that. Like most of the track coaches I know that coach at the level I do in high school, they don't get USA certification. Like I did that because I do want to coach at a college eventually, but that makes the difference. Like if you go through USA track training, it's kind of like they're giving you the secrets. They're giving you the recipe book. Now, does it have the newest recipes that they're using at this upcoming Olympics and World Championships? No. Like you're probably getting stuff from a cycle ago. Like 2016 Olympics at this point, if it's 2020, but you're still getting material and coaching philosophy and training methods that the rest of the world isn't using. Like shit, when you go through USA Track, they are very strict with you. Like you cannot distribute this online. You cannot sell this stuff. Like we will come after you. Like those are basically like trade secrets. But it's also a reason why we just we dominate at a high level. And so, yeah, to answer your question in a very fucking long way, a lot of international track athletes go to college here for the coaching, and then they go back to their country and represent their country in a great way. Shit, the lady who just won or who just set the new world record in the women's 100 hurdles, she went to school over here.
Man,
And
that's
then
crazy.
she went and represented Nigeria and now holds the world record.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very cool. Is it my turn?
It is.
Okay.
It's your turn.
So I'm going to go for, I'm still not coming back to football yet. Maybe I'll come back in the 4th round. I don't know.
It's cool. I got basketball in the end. So.
Woo! Let's
yeah.
go. I'm going UNC, University of North Carolina, women's soccer. So the UNC, I'm getting this, the UNC women's soccer program is considered the best soccer college program in the U.S. The team has won 23 of the 27 Atlantic Coast Conference championships and 21 of the 38 NCAA national championships. Every year, the team has participated in the NCAA tournament and holds a mind-blowing all-time record of 496 wins over less than 100 losses and ties combined. So some notable alums have participated in this program, including Mia Hamm, Tisha Leah Venturini, Serena Weigman, Heather O'Reilly, and more. So their men's soccer team is also awesome, but I'm not going to talk about them. I'm just going to talk about the women's soccer team. Going to represent women's soccer for UNC.
Ugh, gross soccer.
I know. I also secretly wanted to rev Ben up a little bit, but Ben already went on a rant, so I don't know if he's got another rant in him.
I'm clearly an American because I just do not like soccer. I like it when high school girls play soccer because it's in the fall and it helps them be better track athletes. But it's like being really good at chess. It's like being really good at checkers. I'm sorry. Like checkers is cool when you're in grade school, but. Like, let's play some chess. Like, if you want to play a good game, play some fucking football. Like, that's, I'm sorry to be that guy, but American football just dunks on soccer. Like, sorry, soccer. Like, there's a reason why little kids start off playing soccer and t-ball. Because they're easy, they're accessible, the rules are easy to understand. That doesn't make it the greatest.
I also think it makes the accessible. It's like, okay.
It is like the most accessible sport.
Second.
It is.
Oh,
The
track,
most
'cause you
track is
run.
track. All you need to do is go run.
Okay, fair enough.
All you got to do is
Fair
run.
enough.
Like
That's
your
fair.
body has the capacity. With soccer, you need a ball. If you're gonna say, well, you need shoes to run track, fuck you. Then you could easily say you need shoes to play soccer.
There-
But both of them, you could play barefoot too.
There are some more complicated track and field events that I maybe would not feel comfortable participating in. Whereas with soccer, I would feel comfortable doing all of the things.
But you're a distance runner.
I am.
You don't need anything. So that's what I'm saying. As a distance runner, Mr. Man.
But as like with the pole vault or with the hurdles.
But those, okay. But the pole vault is like such a technical, such a niche
I know,
thing.
but it's part of track and field.
But we're talking 21 events. Like you're gonna
Like,
level a
as
sport
somebody
that's
that has competed at a college level, I haven't even tried all of them.
yeah.
Sure, no, sure. But I'm just saying, soccer, all you need is something that you can kick. You don't even need a fucking soccer ball. You just need something you can kick around.
You're kicking a fucking American football around. It's just going the places you don't want it to go.
But I mean, that's what makes it
Son,
so
how'd you
great.
get so good at soccer? I used a football growing up.
and hey,
It's real difficult.
it's like an extra challenge. But I mean, that's why you get like so many athletes from all different walks of life is because you can grow up just kicking a ball. I think that's what makes soccer kind of beautiful is I don't know if you need all these formal programs and training for soccer necessarily.
Oh, yes, you do.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big soccer fan, but the skill they have, the things they can do with their feet, like their quickness is, I mean, it's a step below football players, but it's up there.
I mean, it's an endurance sport.
100%.
Oh, it's endurance for sure, but it's also like super stressful on your central nervous system because of how quick you have to, like, it's endurance, but it's also super anaerobic. That's why I'm saying I love it when girls play soccer in high school because it's the perfect fall sport to facilitate winter lifting and then spring track. because I would argue it's more anaerobic than it is aerobic. Because let's say you have your position, you're really active and engaged for a spurt. Some of it's very explosive, and then you kick the ball off, and then you're in a rest state. That's a lot more. It's a lot.
Anaerobic.
Yeah, it's a lot more similar to an anaerobic exercise than it is a continuous like slow to moderate jog.
Yeah.
Which is why I think it's a great sport for developing young athletes. Like again, I don't want to come across as a soccer hater. Like I think there's value in the sport. I just think that there's better professional sports.
Well, UNC women's soccer team sure is great.
Yeah, that's dope.
I mean, what you said that they won almost 50% of the national championships.
That's almost unfair.
yeah, that's ridiculous.
Like Jesus.
They're very good.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
very, very good.
Like winning what you said, 21 out of 38, right? That's pretty fucking.
I mean, you should look it up. See, like, because UNC Tar Heels, their men's basketball team, are going to be like their highest revenue earner. But with a record like that, how does their soccer program like measure up in terms of earning revenue for the school? Is it its second largest athletic contributor? I mean, because with a record like that, you would think that's the number 2 sports program at that school.
It's not much. It's $859,000. And it actually loses money.
How much do their basketball team bring in?
So
Like a couple mil a year.
probably.
At
I think my
least.
biggest
I mean,
my
but just-
biggest moneymaker is my UCLA men's basketball.
13.4 million.
See, but you also, like you were talking about earlier, like UW's track facility versus Oregon's track facility. Like a soccer stadium typically doesn't have nearly the grandstand that a football or a basketball stadium like has.
No.
Yeah.
And so that's exactly why it's not going to generate as much revenue, like right there, because they're limiting themselves at the amount of money they can make off the seats that they have.
Well, and also, how much does the sport actually like rev up its student body?
Yeah.
How many
Yep.
people going to that school are like? How many people at UNC are like? You know what? I want to go see a women's soccer game. They are so dominant.
It's true, but at my school, since I'll have, we're not at the make your case, so I don't need to do this right now. But the UCLA men's basketball generates $127 million in revenue, which is pretty good.
Where'd you get that?
Now they
Wait, per year? Or
that-
that's
oh
how
no,
much
this
they've
is
generated?
sports
got-
team. Ah, come on,
Well,
I didn't
I say
read that.
that's a ridiculous.
No,
because I
that-
have it up
that's-
right.
no,
I have
no,
it
no,
right
no, no.
here.
That's not right.
Their financial report from 2020 to 2021, they generated 13.4 million. Whereas from 19 to 20,
There we
they
go.
generated 26.2 million. The reason why there was that huge drop off though is because of COVID.
Yeah. So normally it's pretty good. That's the moneymaker right there for my school.
Well, I will say I was talking about their men's basketball. I don't know about their soccer.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, your school, like that's another question: is how many moneymaker programs does your school need for athletics? Does it need one?
Well, but if we're building an athletic program, you would want all of them to be huge revenue earners.
In theory, but I think it's about the legacy too. You want kids to know about. You want athletes, right?
Okay, but what is a legacy value for? Like, what is it? What does having a legacy do? It brings more people in to generate more revenue.
Yeah.
It's all about the reason why Oregon and Hayward Field is so prominent is because of that legacy. But that legacy aids in them generating revenue as a program because you know when you go there, you're going to experience Hayward magic. So I think there is value in being able to demonstrate that that program can generate revenue. Now, what you're saying is UNC, Jesus, and you're right, they lost money because they pay $1.7 million in expenses and they generate $860.
It loses money.
But relative to other women's soccer programs, do they actually like fare better? You know what I mean? Like maybe University of Washington has a higher expenditure and way less revenue. So even though these guys are losing 50%, like they're still making more than
But
what.
it also makes sense for a team that is super good to have super high expenses.
Yeah, that's true.
And also, women's teams don't make nearly as much as men, just historically. So
Yeah.
for women's athletics, and this is not to disparage women's athletics. That is not what I'm trying to do. It's just they make less money.
Yeah. Chase, your basketball team is fitting the bill for the soccer team.
Guess so. I mean, I think that is for most schools. I mean, a majority of them, they're going to pay a majority of their athletics through basketball and football just because of the popularity of how many people each year go and watch them. I mean, they're making so much money off their ticket sales and then also TV deals.
Oh God, yeah. Matt looks like he's doing some equations over there.
You ready to pick?
Yes, I am ready. My next pick, I'm saving football for the last round, so therefore I'm going to go with Michigan hockey, Michigan men's ice hockey, because they do have a men's and a women's team. But I'm going to go with Michigan men's hockey. They are the gold standard for collegiate hockey in the United States. Again, another one of those like really regional things, like similar to your lacrosse. Like there are not really any collegiate hockey teams in the West Coast. Oddly enough, there's a really good one in Arizona State. I don't really get that, but for the most part, like you have like club hockey on the West Coast, but collegiate hockey, like the Frozen Four, the elite of the elite, Michigan is top dog. They have 9 national titles, more than any other program in the country, and since 1991, they've made 21 consecutive NCAA tournament appearances.
Damn.
And they've contributed over their course of their history upwards of like 150 NHL players, including in the last draft from last year, 2021 draft. 4 out of the top 5 picks were from Michigan.
Damn.
Like, so they not only have the history of producing guys for decades, and they've got the titles, they've got the longevity, the track record of success, but they're still churning out dudes even till today. Hockey's huge in the Midwest, so it's saying something when you're better than Minnesota, which is the state of hockey. You're better than Wisconsin, right? You're better than all these little schools, whether it be UMass, Boston University, Boston College. You're better than all of them. Like that's saying something, because like hockey people take this seriously. So to be top dogs, and not only, I think the most impressive thing about Michigan hockey here is that not only are you getting consistent success, but to have 4 of the first 5 NHL draft picks come from one school, and you're competing against all these junior programs in Canada. Canada's way more hockey-centric than we are. So for an American university to produce 4 of the first top 5 picks in an NHL entry draft compared to like all of Canada, that's pretty damn impressive. Or the fact that they can recruit Canadian players to come to this program rather than go pro immediately, it's pretty damn good.
Hell yeah.
Michigan hockey.
Badass. I love that you picked hockey. Channeling a little Dustin there.
Yeah. Shout out Dustbuster. I know he would appreciate that pick.
I'm sure you'd have something to say about it.
Yeah, he probably knows more about that than I do. But nevertheless, pretty damn good program. We were talking about money. I was doing my math there. They actually made about $3.5 million last year.
Nice.
It's pretty damn good for a hockey program.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
Legit. Chasing the wraparound. Your last 2 picks, dude, back to back.
You can get exactly what you want.
Exactly. You
Yeah.
can have whatever
Whatever
you
you
like.
I think I'm going to take exactly what I'd like. And with my 3rd pick, I'm going to pick my first, or I guess technically not first female sport, because I took Oregon track and field with men's and women's, but that is UCLA's softball team. Softball became one of my favorite sports to watch in college, not just because our team was absolutely dominant at the Cordia University of Irvine. Shout out Eagles. But to its male counterpart, I think that it differentiates itself more than other sports, and you don't find yourself often comparing the two nearly as much, which is one reason why I absolutely love watching softball. And the Bruins have created quite the dynasty, as they have 13 national championships over their career, which is 5 more than, or they have 12 national championships, which is 4 more than the runner-up Arizona with 8. And they have like 19 conference appearances, and they have like
Hey, buddy,
12
talking to the mic, my guy.
NCAA super regional appearances. And yeah, they just are probably the most dominant softball program in the entire United States. And yeah, that's why I'm going with the UCLA Bruins.
Dude, I'll
for
tell you what,
women's
like,
softball.
occasionally I'll find like the Women's College World Series on TV or something like that. Man, that's straight up a party. softball is wild. Like even as like a high school baseball coach, like occasionally we'll be playing like the baseball and softball teams will have a road trip at the same school at the same time, and our games will go on at the same time, and I'll just like kind of like look over randomly, and it's just like straight up like a concert over there. Like they're bumping tunes, they're having a blast. I'm like, guys, why can't we do that? Like we're boring.
Dude, the women on
They get down, man.
So
It's
in
awesome.
the public school kids I hung out with, because I went to a private school for high school. The public school kids I hung out with, I knew a lot of the women on the softball team. Dude, they partied so hard. Jesus Christ. It's hard to keep up with those softball players. Holy shit.
They're badass too. Like
Yes.
what softball just blows my damn mind. Like you could have one elite pitcher for the entire year. Like I don't know how she doesn't destroy her rotator cuff. Like it blows my mind. Like you could have legitimately, like there are Olympic softball players who like played college softball. They're the ace. That's the only pitcher on their team. Like they'll have more, but they're only going to use her for an entire season.
Baseball used to be the same way.
Yeah.
Like pitchers back in the day.
Oh, they throw like 150 pitches. No sweat.
All day.
Yeah.
And then there's like this change where they're like, oh, you know what? We just need to maximize your throws, and you're only going to pitch 3 to 4 innings. And then we're going to have other people come in and sub after that. But imagine if they changed it where you were limited the amount of pitchers you could have on a roster, so then your pitchers actually had to, because I think that's one of the things that makes softball really fun.
Yeah.
Is you get consistency, like greater longevity within a game with a player, but then also their fields are smaller. Their venues are way more intimate.
Oh yeah, you're on top of the action.
So
Yeah.
like that connectivity with the athletes and the ambiance of the stadium is just so much more electric. Like you're saying, like it is a party.
Yeah.
And when you're in the stands at a softball game, you feel like you're there because you're both really close. You're in this environment that's intimate. You're close with the fans versus baseball feels so
You're
big.
very far away.
It's
yeah.
so big.
Yeah.
And you feel isolated from the players because it's so big.
Yeah. No, it's like basically our best attempt at recreating like a European like soccer game.
Yeah.
It feels that same kind of vibe as in college softball, hands down.
That's dope.
Absolutely electric.
Hell yeah. Damn, we're rolling, but we're also like kind of taking our time. We're taking our time, and I kind of like that.
Yeah,
you know?
it's nice.
I like that. I like that. We're making some cases while we're rolling along with it.
beautiful.
BEA beautiful. All right, y'all, that's going to do it for the third round. We got another ad, Adult College Finder, and then we'll get right back into it. You know what it is.
Mount Draftmore.
Yo, dudes. If you're anything like me, you kind of screwed up college the first time around, and now you're looking to go back. This time, make the right decisions and use AdultCollegeFinder.com. Adult College Finder syncs with your internet footprint to identify the best potential schools for you. In 10 minutes, just 10 minutes after you sign up, you'll have a list of prospective schools with everything you need to know about campus activities, dorm life, oh, and of course, the courses you'll need for your potential degree. Adult College Finder's website allows you to use a super sophisticated chat tool to communicate with school personnel in case you have additional questions. But that's not all. You can also apply for scholarships and financial aid right on your profile page. Adult College Finder has everything you need. If you're looking to go back to school, make the right decisions this time. Use AdultCollegeFinder.com. Go where you belong.
Mount Draftmore. Round 4.
Chase, round 4, last pick. What do you got, dude?
It's got to be football.
Yep.
Oh, it does have to be football. You're right.
It does have to be football, and that is why I'm going with the Notre Dame Fighting Irish for my men's football team.
Wait, Dylan, do you not have football either?
Surprisingly, They have won 50% of their national title appearances. They have appeared in 22 national championships, and they have won 11, and they have lost 11. But their winning percentage isn't one of the main reasons why I'm picking them. I mean, yes, they are probably one of the 5 most dominant football teams historically in the United States. But they also have one of the dopest helmets, in my opinion. Like, they literally have gold flakes in their helmets, which I think is pretty freaking awesome. And their gold helmets contrast their navy jerseys so beautifully. And you just always know, like, if you flip on the TV and you see those gold helmets, you automatically know that Notre Dame is playing football.
Isn't Notre Dame green?
No, they're blue.
Sometimes they use green, though.
But
Yeah.
they're, like, at least what I'm thinking of as their most iconic jerseys is their navy with the gold helmets.
I did not know they were blue. I really thought they
Yeah.
were always green.
Oh, they are
They
blue,
wear special green jerseys when they play, like, USC.
Okay.
Yeah.
You think, being the Fighting Irish, they would be green.
Well, and I think of Rudy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I thought in Rudy they wore green.
Oh, no, that was blue the entire movie.
Really?
Yeah. You have to
Yep.
go back and watch that.
Damn, I'm tripping. That was high school. Got a dog shit memory. Sorry.
But anyways, yeah, just, I mean, Notre Dame Fighting Irish, I feel like when you think of Notre Dame, you think of football. I mean, historically, I mean, like Ben was talking about Rudy, it's a very, very famous movie that incorporates, again, a very iconic and nationally known football team. And they're interesting because they are an independent. They compete against, they participate in 5 games in the ACC per year, but other than that, all their games are against typically like as high of ranked teams as possible, because like that's kind of who they are. They are looking to play the best of the best, compete with the best of the best, and now I guess compete in the college playoffs because they now exist. And kind of interesting, but I'm hoping that moving forward more teams can get involved with the playoffs, because the way that they've chose to do it right now is pretty lame. I just feel like it as far as like the potential for marketing and money to be made, like you'd think that they would make the playoffs, or at least include a lot more teams in their playoffs. But I think they're limiting themselves right now, only limiting it to 4 teams. And sadly, the Notre Dame is over 2 on their college playoff appearances, but they do have 2 of them, which is pretty freaking cool. So yeah, Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
They being independent because they are a private university, of which the only other private university to participate in the conferences they do is Boston College. So that makes them even more unique and interesting. Also, their stadium is super cool. It's like, I don't know what to call that architecture style. What is that, like Gilded Age architecture? I'm not even sure what that is.
It's like Art Deco, maybe?
Art Deco,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like that. It's cool. So, got a cool stadium, got a cool team.
I mean, shit, they can pack almost 80,000 fans in there. 77,000 fan capacity, which is pretty freaking awesome for a college football game.
Yes.
Damn.
That's a good one.
Man, you're right. It is blue. And when I looked at pictures, I was like, oh, yeah, I remember that. I don't know why I thought off the top of my head it was green, but those blue jerseys, those gold helmets pop.
Yeah, that's what I'm
This
saying.
shit is
the
fire.
The contrast between that gold and the navy is, as Matt would put it, iconic.
It's almost like that's
Yeah,
it's almost like that's what Michigan wanted, but they couldn't get it because Notre Dame already had it. So they're like, okay, we can't do gold, but let's just do yellow. We'll try to get as close as possible.
Yeah. Maze.
Maze.
All right, well, keeping on the run of football teams, because now I have to take one and Dylan has to take one as well. I'm going to go with Ohio State football. And with Ohio State football, you also get the benefit of the best damn band in the land, which is the Ohio State marching band that performs at every single Ohio State football game. I had to give them a special shout out because they are the greatest marching band in the history of humankind. It's incredible. When I went down to see the Rose Bowl of UW in Ohio State in 2019, like I was blown away about it. I was like, I always thought like the whole marching band thing was cool, but they put on a damn show. Like their choreography is amazing. Back to the football team though. You're talking about what was the stat? They have 8 national championships, 4 playoff appearances. They're exactly 500 in bowl appearances. Ben mentioned at the beginning about winning percentage 731. That's pretty damn good. They have 41 conference titles. That's nuts. 39 in the Big Ten. Like that's just
I mean, very competitive conference.
just, I mean, the Big Ten is known for beating the hell out of each other. Like, that is grassroots. Like, same thing with the SEC, like, pound you in the face style of football. So the fact that they've won 39 Big Ten titles is pretty damn crazy. They've got 7 Heisman winners, 90 consensus All-Americans, and it's just between the uniforms, you got the scarlet and the gray, those gray, awesome gray helmets with the decal stick, the Buckeye stickers for every single time. But they start off the season clean. By the end, they're all covered in the stickers. Like, Ohio State's known for producing dudes. Like, in that rivalry, I mean, there's nothing better than that Ohio State-Michigan rivalry. They absolutely hate the shit out of each other. And it's actually kind of funny in that, like, my last 2 picks were Michigan and Ohio State. So I got representation from both. But, man, Ohio State's a juggernaut. You think about college football excellence, especially in a modern day. You think about Alabama. You think about Ohio State. You think about, name your other SEC team. Lately, it's been Georgia. But Ohio State's always in the mix. Every single season, they're always ranked in the top 5. You can always count on them to be right near it when it comes to college football playoff time. They just have a track record of success, and they've got the history dating back to Woody Hayes in the 50s and 60s. That rivalry's intense. Like, Ohio State football, it's a pretty damn good program. So, Ohio State.
Yeah, I also just love how unique their rivalry is. Like, it makes sense that, like, you know, Duke and UNC are rivals because they're basically right down the street from each other.
Yeah.
But the fact that, like, these two teams hate each other and they're states away is pretty
They're like 100
cool.
miles apart. Like,
Yeah.
like Columbus and Ann Arbor are not close.
Yeah, like,
So the
that's
fact that they're
awesome
rivals
that the
is
rivalry
crazy.
can stretch that far. And if anybody that knows college football, that's probably the greatest rivalry in all of American football.
Well, I'm not trying to get tangential because you asked the question at halftime and we said we'd table it for another discussion. But that's part of what makes college sports awesome,
Yeah.
are regional matchups.
Oh, yeah.
So with what's happening now with this consolidation of conferences, it takes away regional matchups.
Yeah.
So you have UCLA and USC. Would they just join?
The Big Ten.
They joined the Big Ten with teams that they have no regional affiliation or history with. So the teams that are already in the Big Ten that have these storied, established relationships, they don't give a fuck about USC or UCLA
No.
coming in. Those are just bodies to knock out. And the UCLA, USC fans aren't going to have these iconic matchups that they're used to having from the pack where they're coming from.
Yeah, there's going to be no Cal, Stanford, UCLA, USC matchups anymore.
So it's a disservice to, like, the whole college sports system because regional, that's what really makes sports fun.
Oh,
like
yeah.
think about professional sports.
yeah.
The Seahawks, their rivalry with the 49ers. That's kind of like one of the big things that makes that team pop. If you don't have that regional rivalry, what are you doing, man?
Yeah, but also, like, with the losing the regional rivalry, you're also going to lose a ton of fans.
Oh yeah.
Like when, like, take the Apple Cup for example, like, whether it's in Pullman or Seattle, there's going to be a boatload of whichever team is away.
Oh, the representation of away fans is great.
Yeah, they're going to feel the need to represent their team to help their team win.
Yeah.
In the trenches of the other team's home territory.
Well, and this is why it doesn't make sense because, like, the Big Ten, like, Rutgers is in the Big Ten. That's in New Jersey.
Yeah.
So you could theoretically have a team from New Jersey and LA play each other in one conference. That makes zero sense.
Yeah,
It's a disservice to the athletes, too. That's too much travel, and it's just not good.
I was just about to say, in doing research, like, that's kind of I found 2 different, like, trains of thought when you're trying to rank the best programs. The best programs in terms of, like, winningness and revenue generated, and then the other side, the best programs for the athletes. Overwhelmingly, the programs at Stanford, Princeton, Harvard, like a lot of Ivy League schools are the best for their athletes because they're really good at both keeping academics and the sports calendar like simpatico, right? They're working together. Versus with this move of UCLA and USC to the Big Ten, those athletes are in for a shitty experience.
Yeah, they're going to be missing a ton of class.
They're going to have to spend so much time traveling across the country to go play. That's going to diminish their ability to recruit effectively. So they did this short-sighted move for money and TV deals, not taking into account the athlete's experience, and that's actually going to hurt their programs in the long run. Because if you're a kid and you're like, okay, I can go play at UW and play schools that are reasonably close in the same time zone. I'm not going to miss a lot of class versus I need to go travel across the country every other week to play football. And the way the calendar works, like how many college football games you have? 10?
12.
Okay, so you have 12 games. If half of your games are away and you're not going to go home, away, home, away, home, away, you might have 3 consecutive weeks where you're traveling from the West Coast to the East Coast, different practice times, different prep schedules. God, it's a fucking
on top of that,
nightmare.
you're a
the
student.
thing is like you're providing a great analysis of it, but a 17 or 18-year-old that's making this decision to go to a specific college, like they're not going to be thinking about that.
No.
Yeah.
They're going to be thinking about the gear that they're throwing
They're
in
like,
their
oh,
face
man,
and all
these unis are sick,
yeah,
dude.
and the facilities and the way that they make them feel when they show up, and it's like they're in a way they're diminishing their college experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
Also,
are.
one final note on Ohio State before we move on. The last major fiscal year of 2020, they made $115 million, over
Wow.
49.4% of the
Wow.
entire athletic budget at Ohio State was football.
That's nuts.
So
Ohio, Michigan
OH,
football,
IO,
Alabama football, Clemson football.
Georgia now,
Like when
LSU.
you when you look at
yeah.
the stadium, it looks. I mean, shit. They have higher capacity than most NFL stadiums.
Oh,
They're
the
generating
horseshoe at
dumb
Ohio State
revenue.
holds like 105,000 people. It's nuts. It's stupid.
That's a good pick. If you can't get Alabama, it's a good pick.
Yeah, the only
Value in the
Notre
fourth.
Dame was a good pick
I mean,
too.
the only
Notre
thing
Dame's
that
a good
Ohio
pick.
State lacks in modern time is just NFL turnover.
Yeah,
but-
a lot of their guys turn out to be a little bit on the bust side of things, but I mean, they're a damn
good thing
good
we're talking
football
about
team.
college.
I think that comes. I think that comes down to coaching.
Yeah,
And you know that Urban Meyer, he spent a lot of time at Ohio, but he doesn't have a great track record for sending pros.
No.
Like his system doesn't develop
he's
pros.
kind of a douche.
Dude, he's a fucking asshat.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for for Urban Meyer fans, but fuck that guy. Anyways, tangential. Go
Dylan,
for it,
what
Dylan.
college
Your
football team
last
you
pick,
picking?
dude. Yeah.
I'm picking the University of Oklahoma Norman.
Go Boomer Sooner.
Yeah, Boomer Sooner. So this is Oklahoma's most historically successful program. And so you can just ask the 7-time NFL Pro Bowl running alumnus, Adrian Peterson, right? The Sooners have picked up more wins than any other college team since 1946, have ended up in the top 5 of the Associated Press's college football poll more frequently than the rivals, and have the greatest number of post-war NCAA recognized titles in college football. Now, we're going back pretty far with post-war stuff, granted.
Yeah.
That's granted. But still, they're raking in a lot of money with $94 million in revenue in their football program, 43 in expenses, so with about 51 coming out of the gate in profit. That's nothing to shake your hat at negatively, right? That's a good football program, and I will be happy to round out my 4th round pick. That is a value pick in the 4th round.
I mean, Oklahoma football, like, man, they really are tried and true in the whole, like, there's nothing in Oklahoma but football.
Yeah, there really isn't. There's nothing there. If you no, like Norman. So Norman's right outside of. Has anyone been to Oklahoma here?
Nope. I have no
wh-
desire to.
When I was on tour with my
Isn't
band,
that tornadoes and stuff?
yes, definitely. We drove through Oklahoma City, and outside of Oklahoma City is Norman, which is a sleepy little prairie, college town, and it's a cool strip, just very long, of all like bars and stuff, music venues, very cool, great university, but there's not much else to do in Oklahoma, right? Sports, definitely probably the primary thing that people do there, for sure.
Well, and, like, honestly, Oklahoma football is so interesting because, like, they're low-key, like, a really swaggy program. Like, there's a lot of swag in Oklahoma football. Like, you go back into the 80s when, like, Brian Bosworth was there, they were straight up just wrecking dudes. Like, they really embodied that whole, like, we're Oklahoma, we're just going to kick the shit at you. Right? They were like Miami before Miami was Miami. Like, it's
that early 2000s.
yeah,
just
like they
dominant
just had this
attitude.
like, man, we're gonna dominate you, like, kind of an attitude, and they're just consistently good. They always get dudes, which is remarkable because it's like there really is nothing in Oklahoma worth going towards. Like, if I was a college student, I'd be like, why the hell would I go out there? but they win.
Watch
They
some
win
damn good
consistently.
football.
There you go.
Yeah. There's a cool logo with the finger pointing up. There's only one Oklahoma, right? For their football team, the Sooners.
Their uniforms are clean. The OU
Oh.
and it says Sooners on the chest, like it's clean.
It
It's simple.
looks-
Same thing with Alabama. Like it's just the simpler the uniform, it just has the history. It's just don't change it. It
Yeah.
ain't broke. Don't fix it.
And if you're talking about like getting butts and seats, Oklahoma's a great place to do it, right? Not only are sports the thing that people go do, but they're also the thing that people go watch, right?
Well, and they also have their own share of like incredible rivalries. Oklahoma, Texas, Oklahoma State. I mean, there's some good stuff. I'd love to get out to like an Oklahoma Texas game at some point just to see what that's like.
Yeah, and in modern history, they've been, ranked top 10.
Oh yeah, they got Heisman winners,
about
Jalen
like,
Hurts,
the
all those
entire
guys. Yeah.
last decade almost.
They're good. That's a good program. Good program. They probably make a shit ton of money too.
they do.
Yeah.
They're rounding out my team.
Jared Judy, right?
Yeah, Jerry. Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably most popular Oklahoma Sooner in the NFL right now. I mean, up and rising, in my opinion. I mean,
Yeah.
he's going to be great. Having Russell Wilson as a quarterback, shit.
All right, Ben, finish this out. What's your basketball team?
If you want to say value pick, like this is the most valued pick in the whole draft. Going the last pick,
Damn.
people are scratching their heads, their stomachs, their balls. Everyone's just confused. How did this team go all the way till the last pick? You know I'm talking about Duke.
Yeah, I knew
You know I'm talking about the Blue Devils. Like, for the last pick, holy shit, what a last pick. 5 national championships, all under Coach Krzyzewski. Now, if you're drafting the program, you're drafting the coaches that go with the program. Dylan got Wooden, and Wooden is iconic. Krzyzewski is the modern-day Wooden. Wooden was winning championships when there wasn't as much competition. Krzyzewski is winning championships when basketball is at its peak. This dude has coached at Duke for 47 years.
Holy shit.
47 years. He is the greatest basketball coach of all time, which I think translates to Duke being one of the greatest basketball programs of all time. 1,202 wins. 1,202 wins as a coach. That's insane. 368 losses, a winning percentage of 76%. That's ridiculous for 47 years. This dude, like, Duke has made the Final Four 16 times. They've made the finals of the NCAA tournament 12 times, all under Coach Krzyzewski. That's insanity. This program is top-notch, in large part because of the coaching. But they generated $33.4 million in revenue his last season, which is one of the highest basketball earners in the nation. They have one, like we mentioned the Tar Heels earlier. They're a part of one of the most storied rivalries in all of sports, both professional and collegiate. The Tar Heels versus the Blue Devils. Like that.
Yeah, and their
bangs.
rivalry is I think 51 wins to 49 or something
yeah.
like that.
It's a
they're in each
great
other's throats,
rivalry.
It's cutthroat.
It's a rivalry that warrants the hype.
Oh, Duke, UNC is Michigan, Ohio State.
Look up
right
like
down at P.
Yankees Red Sox.
Sox.
But what is the actual percentage of wins between the two? I bet you it's not as close as the Tar Heels and the Blue Devils.
I'll look up the Michigan, Ohio State one.
Red Sox.
The Blue Devils both, and they also expand outside of North Carolina. You can go across the country and find Duke fans who never went to Duke.
Oh, here you go. The Michigan, Ohio State. Michigan's up 59-51, and they've got 6 ties. So similar kind of a thing.
Yeah, that's a great rivalry right
Oh, yeah.
there. But Duke's men's basketball team, and it's the same. I think that you could mirror them with the Tar Heels, and it would be pretty fair. Even on a year where they're projected to be like, okay, they're going to be good, they'll be in the top 10, but they're not going to make noise when it matters.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, they
They
make
make a
noise
run.
when it matters.
I feel like they're always the lowest they're ever ranked is like a 5 seed.
Exactly.
And then they're like, oh, here comes Duke. Krzyzewski's working his magic because they still have 5-star dudes. Kyrie was a Duke. Blue Devil.
Exactly.
Like, they've got guys.
I mean, and they've got bangers going all the way back.
I mean, Leitner.
Late,
Yeah.
dude.
that shot again against Kentucky.
He might be one of the most famous college basketball players because of his affiliation with Duke.
Yeah.
Like he could have played anywhere else and he wouldn't have gotten what he got.
That was Duke before Duke was Duke.
Yeah.
Yep.
Who's right in between? He played for the he played for the Clippers. He played for Orlando.
JJ Redick.
JJ Redick, Duke boy.
Yep. They always did the thing where they slapped the floor.
Yeah.
That's like a Duke point guard thing. He has to be a white Duke point guard. He's got to slap the floor because he's like, we're on defense.
Yeah, so if the Tar Heels are up there and if UCLA's up there, well, Duke's up there for the same reasons as both of those schools. National recognition, national title prominence, consistency getting into the NCAA. Pardon me, because I did have a pretty cool stat here.
But while you find that, I mean, they're white jerseys with the blue Duke on it. I mean,
They're so clean.
Shit, I mean,
So clean.
I keep
Well, and
saying
you
it,
get the
but,
Cameron crazies, the whole camping, like the whole, like the aura behind Duke basketball. Like the kids camp out there for an entire week just to get tickets to go to a game. Like it's just fun.
That's crazy.
So think about this. This is crazy. Since 1984, Duke has only missed, and they've only missed the NCAA tournament one time.
Wow.
One time they didn't make it. That's it. And Krzyzewski's been there since 80.
Damn.
Well, and like Coach K is something when he is the men's national coach. Like he's the one responsible for us coming back into prominence in like the 2000s as like an Olympic basketball team.
Dude, one of my favorite NBA player of all time, Kobe Bryant, loved Mike Krzyzewski. Those two were tight. Krzyzewski's got, I haven't pulled any up, and I'm not going to waste your time pulling them up, but he's got some amazing quotes, and the inverse, Kobe to Krzyzewski. Those two guys loved each other. And so I take that as a high mark of the type of coach that Krzyzewski is. Like, if he can get a player like Kobe Bryant, who is Michael Jordan Volume 2, to really buy in, you know his shit is bulletproof.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't even bring that up because it's not relevant to Duke, but Krzyzewski's so amazing. Like, yeah, Olympic medals, national in the sense of like country origin, national championships.
Oh, yeah.
Just unrivaled. He is the GOAT, which makes the program the GOAT. Since 1938, nearly 2,000 wins on just under 700 losses. Like, this is a top-notch program.
Well, and I'm very proud of us. I think, look at our basketball and our football picks. I think we picked the top 4 in each of those.
We had to.
Yeah.
I mean, Bama, Oklahoma, Notre Dame, Ohio State. Done. That's good for football. And then basketball-wise, we've got Duke, Kentucky, UCLA, and UNC.
So I'm looking at the other teams that went, because Kentucky went and North Carolina went before Duke, obviously. Duke's coming later. But stats to kind of build your guys up, but keeping comparison. Kentucky has sent 100 players into the NBA as top picks. They're number 1. North Carolina has 75 picks in the top in the top echelon of NBA drafts.
And the greatest of all time.
Yeah, even though he only won one national championship with them his first year.
Which is wild, yeah.
Yeah. Duke actually has more than North Carolina with 78. So they have the second most NBA recruits in that top class behind Kentucky. The fact that Duke went last is crazy to me. I thought that would have been the number 2 basketball program. But hey, I'm not complaining. I think that's a swoop of a pick for your boy. Yeah, okay.
Yep.
I can tell no one else has anything else to say on Duke. So, that's going to send us in.
Make their case. Be logical and clear.
We appreciate you sticking with us through a nearly 2-hour draft. We're going to make our cases and then get you out of here. Chase, you had the wraparound, which means you have to make your case first. Are you ready to do it?
I am ready.
All right.
All right, so with my 4th pick, I went with the Notre Dame football team. 12 national championships pretty freaking solid when it comes to football teams, ranked 3rd overall. And just an absolutely iconic jersey. And I wouldn't want my football team wearing anything else than gold helmets and blue uniforms. My 3rd pick was the UCLA softball team. I mean, they have the most national championships out of any women's softball team in the United States, with 12 national championships, and Arizona with 8, falling closely behind. But yeah, like we were talking about, softball creates just a great environment, and I would love to have a dominant softball team at my university. With my 2nd pick, UNC men's basketball team. Again, very iconic with their uniforms, the light blue with the white, just very clean. And of course, as you know, Michael Jordan went there and has, increased their legacy beyond probably what they expected, because now their colors are featured on plenty pairs of Jordans and is a highly sought after colorway when it comes to those sneakers. And yeah, a great rivalry between UNC and Duke when it comes to men's basketball, probably the best rivalry in all of U.S. men's basketball. And then my 1st pick, Oregon track and field. I mean, we talked about it, Hayward Magic, great facility. As Ben was mentioning, just tons of world records. And yeah, that's my team.
That 90 seconds flies, right?
Oh, dude, it whizzes.
It whizzes.
I think you don't realize how much time you spend on your first one.
Yes,
I think that's the killer.
it is.
Dude, I've realized, like, listening, a lot of time is wasted when you recap all 4 of your picks.
Yep.
And then you go back and then start explaining.
Yes.
But you use like 30 seconds recapping 4, and then you bounce it back. Whereas what Chase just did, where he's like, my 4th pick is this explanation, 3 explanation. You actually save time doing that instead of being like, I picked this, 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 and this.
Well, that's
Here's
good
why I did this.
strategy.
I know, dude. Like, I just kind of read that. I was like, dang, he kind of gave himself a little more time.
But it also just improves the quality of the podcast. So there you go.
Oh,
There you go.
Hey,
this
listeners.
guy.
Oh,
This guy coming
I
in
like
is thinking
it.
about you and your listening experience.
There we go.
Matt, you're up. You ready?
Let's do it. All right, recap my team real quick here. I got UConn women's basketball. I got Kentucky men's basketball, Michigan hockey, and Ohio State football. Let's start off here with UConn women's basketball. 11 national titles, including a back-to-back, a 3-peat, and a 4-peat. I mean, this is the gold standard of women's collegiate basketball, churning out numerous pros, including our girl Sue Bird. She's the GOAT. Next up, we got Kentucky basketball. I mean, the 8 national titles. You've got countless NBA players selected from Kentucky. You just have the highest winning percentage of any collegiate program in all of men's basketball. Next up, Michigan hockey, the gold standard of hockey across all NCAA programs. 9 national titles, over 150 NHL pros, and 21 straight NCAA tournament appearances. You're talking about excellence past to present, including in the 2021 NHL draft. 4 of the first 5 draft picks were from the University of Michigan. And last but not least, Ohio State in the 4th round. I mean, come on now. 8 national titles, 7 Heisman winners. The greatest rivalry in all of college football between Ohio State and Michigan. These guys, I mean, just the tradition, the excellence, the winningness. Ohio State is in it from beginning to end every single year. They're always ranked in the top 5. Best recruiting classes in the nation. I mean, I think I got it all here, folks. I got football, basketball, women's basketball, and hockey. I got a differentiation. All my programs are making money. My college is going to be top-notch. And you know what? I'm in a good spot right now, so I'm going to see the rest of my time because I would vote for me, and I think you should too.
The words per minute on that, ladies and gentlemen. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Got it all in.
I was laughing in the background because right after we talked about
You didn't think I could do it?
efficiency, Matt's like, fuck it.
Yeah,
Like,
and he's still like murdering.
hold my beer, y'all.
Yep.
I'm ready.
Dang.
Trying to
I'm
change the
ready.
game? Nah, I'm going old school.
Dylan, you're ready?
I'm ready. All right. My 4th pick. And this should have gone first probably. University of Oklahoma at Norman football. Oh, my God. They have more
You're
wins.
fucking high.
Get out of here.
Hold on. They have more wins than any other college team since 1946. They rake in $51 million in profit, getting a spanking bang brand new stadium. And then UNC women's soccer, best women's soccer in the nation. Absolutely amazing team. Making a lot of money for soccer. $834,000 roughly. Still losing money. But I mean, the team has won 23 of the 27 Atlantic Coast Conference championships. I mean, that's pretty good. Then Stanford Swimming and Diving, Katie Ledecky. Just going to say Katie Ledecky. And finally, UCLA men's basketball. Dude, with John Wooden, guy won, he coached 620 winning games and coached from 1948 to 1975, creating a legacy in basketball and probably transforming the sport, actually. Produced Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I think I've got a pretty good team here. So, listen, I'd vote for me, and I think you should too.
Nicely done.
See, and last time we potted, I was like, I'm done trying to take this line. I'm done. I said that I'm not fucking saying that. I'm not wasting my time saying I should vote for me and you should too. Like, no, we have fallen victim to that. We have sacrificed precious seconds of our make our case time trying to replicate this line that Dylan so eloquently first dropped months and months ago.
The people's champ.
And Matt continues to fall into the trap, and I'll let him. Because then he's got to say many, many more words per minute than the rest of us. But I'll tell you, I'm not doing that shit. It's not happening. Am I ready to make my case?
Are you ready?
Oh. Ooh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm ready. The fact that it's a fourth-round pick, Duke basketball, easily up there in the top 3 basketball programs all time. It is part of, I would say, one of the most storied rivalries of all time. It has who I would say is the greatest basketball coach of all time. Sorry, John Wooden, but Wooden, you were doing shit when it wasn't popping. Krzyzewski is popping. 5 championships, 16 appearances, 12 of which are under that coach Krzyzewski. Duke is unmatched. They make over $35 million per season. They are GOAT status. Arkansas, and I'll just a little tangential here. What makes programs? What brings in money? Championships. This team has the most championships. Overall, Arkansas, as a track team, has more championships than any other track program. They are the best for their athletes. That is the school you want to go to. If you want history, Hayward Field, sure. But Arkansas is going to bring championships. It's going to get you rings. Syracuse lacrosse. There is no lacrosse program in the nation that is as dominant as Syracuse. Sure, John Hopkins is behind it, and John Hopkins might make a little more revenue, but Syracuse brings out the championships. They pay a little bit more to give their athletes a better experience, and they win because of it. And then finally, Alabama football. Unmatched, 18 championships. And it's not just under one coach, Bear Bryant. You got Nick Saban, too. 2 legendary coaches who are contributing to over 33 or 73% win percentage. This team is stacked. You want championships, you vote for this team.
Nice.
Yes, sir.
Very well done.
Wonderful.
Oh, yeah. That is
The draft, baby. That's the draft. Which means
it's time to wrap it up. That is going to do it, y'all. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for listening.
That's right. Thank you so much for being with us today. Don't forget, you can let us know who you thought won by submitting your vote to Instagram. Search and follow Mount Draftmore.
Yeah, if you have any questions, suggestions, comments, maybe some original music you would like played during and after the show, you can always send us emails to mountdraftmore@gmail.com. That's MT draftmore@gmail.com.
As always, thank you for listening. It blows us away that you take the time out of your day to listen. Like, we genuinely appreciate it. Seriously, thank you, especially today, over 2 hours in, and you're here listening. God damn, you're awesome. If you listen on Apple Podcasts, please leave us a review.
That's right. And preferably, actually only 5 stars.
And subscribe on whatever platform you're listening on, please.
We got it all. We're talking Apple, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, Pandora, Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, even Alexa.
That's right. We've got you covered. Check us out. That'll do it for us here on Mount Draftmore. We'll see you here back next week. Until then, please, please, please be safe. Peace.